you ready, kids, for some emotional turmoil? It's time. Beginning of the end. Nope. Fair. Too bad. I'm really hoping that we are set up for the true ending, but then I have to go back to get the minority ending. But either way, I would have to go back and get the true ending, so we'll just see what happens, I guess. Hello, cat. Yes. You are there. It's like emotional turmoil. No, I am here. Well, I guess without further ado, let's get into this. There's a small explosion in the room filled with smoke. No, my. The window! Open the window! The dark sounds. Well, you guys get the idea. Maho called out in the living room. Into the living room, I can read. Itoru rushed to open the window, and she heard a man who was probably the building's owner yell up at them. Well, duh. Not that you're coughing out okie dokie. Yes, that you're coughing out okie dokie. Hey, Hashida. What was that sound? Well, just an explosion, don't worry about it. Are you making bombs up there? I'll call the cops. No, we're not making bombs. Sorry, the microwave blew up. Itoru poked his head out and apologized to the man below. It took a minute, but the owner was finally satisfied and the argument ended. Wow, that really scared me. Fair. As Itoru wiped away the sweat, she saw that his face and clothes were both covered in soot. It scared you? It should've. Maho was no different. Some of her hair had been burnt off, and the white lab coat she'd gone through all that trouble to get had turned pitch black. Explain what's going on. Where did that smoke come from? The microwave exploding? Duh. Probably the microwave. I picked it up from a dumpster, so it probably shorted out somewhere. You picked it up from where? What is wrong with you? We're working on one of the greatest inventions in human history. And you're using parts from a dumpster? Why? Commercial microwaves are expensive. So true, buddy. I can't believe you. Do something about this. Use my credit card if you have to. Maho didn't have that much money, but this was no time to be cheap. That's a big help. Maho wiped her sweaty, soot-covered face with the towel. The white towel turned black immediately. I can't take this anymore. I'm turning on the air conditioner. I'm pretty sure they don't have one. That's not happening. If you use it at the same time as the phone wave, it'll trip the breaker. Okay, they do have one. And I told you, you can't use that air conditioner for more than an hour a day because it's so expensive. These working conditions were abysmal. Was Kurisu really able to create the time leap machine under these circumstances? Just thinking about it gave her even more respect for Kurisu. Fine. But I'd at least like to take a shower and get the soot out of my hair. Go ahead. If you even think about peeking, I'll go straight to Suzuha. Remember that. I wouldn't do that. You predict shower hijinks, so do I. For some reason, Itoru responded to Maho's warning by sighing and slumping his shoulders. And actually, I don't feel up to dealing with jokes like that right now. Maho hadn't meant it as a joke. She was extremely serious. I'm in such a bad way that I'm not even playing H games. Oh no, not the H games. She heard from Shizuho that the day she'd arrived in Japan, Itaru had screwed up bad on the date. It was true that Itaru was a lot quieter than his usual self. Mayuri had even said that Daru not playing H games must be an omen of some impending natural disaster. But either way, she didn't have time for his negativity, so she mostly ignored him and went to the shower room. Since Shizuho used the shower regularly, it was relatively clean. There was a good selection of body soap and shampoo, and Shizuho told her she could use it as she liked. Stop. Sheesh, I'm spending Tanabata covered in suit. That day was indeed Tanabata. Actually, Maho had been secretly looking forward to this day. Since she lived in America for so long, she was interested in Japan's traditional summer holiday. She was especially interested in the famous story of Orihime and Hikoboshi, and the custom of writing down wishes and hanging them from bamboo. Since she was here, she sort of wanted to try writing down a wish too. No. She didn't want to bring it up herself because she didn't want anyone thinking of her as childish. But Mayuri, Ferris, and the other girls seemed like they wanted to do something like that. Ugh. Part of her had hoped they'd invite her too. That's why it hurts so much to be spending the hot summer afternoon in the lab with Itaru, covered in suit. That's definitely a Maho in despair sound. She was thinking about that she washed herself off when... Oh dear. Mahotan, Mahotan. She could hear Itaru calling for her from outside. Huh? What? Don't tell me you're really going to peek. I don't think he would yell your name if that were the case, my dear. I dare you to open that door even an inch. I'll cry. Fair. Now's no time for being cute. I just got word from Mayashi. Okuri might be coming here. Yeah, that's a problem. What? Okabe? Maho's mind started to race. She'd been told that Okabe rarely came to the lab anymore. In fact, after he dropped her off here on the first day, he hadn't come by even once. That's why she felt safe going in and out of the lab, but... I hit the phone wave, but make sure he doesn't find out what we're doing. Right. I know. Wait. I shouldn't even be here. You can come up with an excuse. Probably, maybe. I need to get back to Ferris's place and hide. Why? Because I'm supposed to be in Okinawa. Ah. Yeah, that's a problem, isn't it? That's how she explained her visit to Okabe. If he found out she was working on the phone with Itaru, there would be trouble. That's right. Okay, hurry up and come out. I can't. Not with you standing there. Oh, that's right. After she was sure Itaru was gone, she quickly washed the bubbles from the body soap off her body. Her long hair still wasn't dry, but there wasn't time for that. She wiped herself off with a towel and was about to leave the shower room when she heard the door open. Hey, Daru. Yeah, that's... He was here already? She quickly shut the door to the shower room again. But then she looked down and saw she was naked. Her clothes were lying on the floor past the door. There was no way she could get them without Okabe seeing her. Her only choice was to stay hidden, completely undressed, and wait for him to leave. But this is really kind of nerve-wracking. Why didn't Daru just bring your clothes into the shower room? I don't know. Oh boy, Okabe's perspective. Hey, Daru. Daru greeted me as I came inside the lab. He seemed to be in kind of a hurry. Mm-hmm. Oh, Okarin. I don't see you coming by yourself very often anymore. The room smelled kind of like smoke. And someone must have been using the shower room, because the smoky smell was mixed with the scent of soap. Mm-hmm. But whoever it definitely wasn't Daru. His face and clothes were blackened with soot. I thought it might be Suzuho, but the lights in the shower room were turned off. What were you doing? Dude, you're black with soot. No, well... I got this microwave from the garbage dump, you know? And it was warming up a lunch I got from the convenience store. And it blew up. It blew up? Are you okay? Mr. Braun got mad at me. Don't get him too riled up. You don't know when he'll kick you out. If he does that, you might be okay, but Suzuho will have nowhere to go. That's right. So, what are you doing here? Maishi isn't here. I need to talk to you. Good news. But I refuse. That's not sus. I haven't said anything yet. Nothing you've ever come to talk to me about has ever ended up being good news. So true, buddy. So true. Come on. Just hear me out. Last night, I went to dinner with Dr. Lixon and we were talking about the exchange program. No, that again? I was keeping in touch with Dr. Lixon. Of course, the professor knew that Maho was here in Japan. Yesterday, he showed me a picture of her taken in Okinawa. I could see her standing in the surf with the blank expression on her face. A friend or a family member must have taken it. Dr. Lixon had been really nice to me, and I talked to him a lot about going to Victor-Condria. Of course, at a minimum, I need to graduate my current school and pass the exchange exam for Victor-Condria. I actually was telling him about you, and he was interested. Huh? And me? Victor-Condria's got something called an information science lab. It brings together hackers from around the world, supposedly. With your talents, don't you think you'd fit in fine there? I've been inviting Daru to come to America with me, but he didn't seem that interested. He'd say things like, I can't imagine living away from the otaku mecca, and no way am I living anywhere you can't get H games and anime figures. He'd done nothing but give excuses like that. Well, I am a super hacker. Not sure I'd be fine, but... Why not meet with him at least? You met him before. I'm busy now. You can make time for one day. Not until Komima's over, probably. That's over a month away. It's not happening for a while, okay? Give me a break, man. You're full of excuses. Do you really not want to go that badly? I sighed and sat down on the sofa. This room really was hot as hell during the summer. The windows were open and the fans were running at full speed, but I was still sweating. There was an air conditioner, but evidently he wasn't using it. Daru, got any Doc P? Hey, first time it's been mentioned in this game. I'm just gonna drink some of my Doc P to cope. This is the first time Okabe is drinking Doc P. Like, he hasn't been drinking it. He's been drinking tea and shit. Me casually keeping track of how many times he's mentioned Doc P in the game. Though in my defense, it's been really easy. No. Maybe Maishi put some in the fridge. I got up and took a look in the fridge in the corner of the room. There was regular soda, mineral water, and some sports drinks. But not a single dock pea. Sad days. As usual, the freezer was stuffed with juicy fried chicken #1. I really did buy a ton of this stuff. You have dock pea? So do I! I have diet dock pea. And then I have strawberries and cream in the fridge. I'm pretty sure, yeah, Squeaky has dock pea. Dock pea gang gang. What else are we gonna drink during the finale of Steins Gate 0? It's the only drink to drink right now. You forgot my diet Dr. Kelp. Oh dear. Wait, was there even more than usual? Maybe she brought some for Suzuha too. I'm gonna grab a sports drink. Take any except the one that Suzuha already drank out of. Never would have guessed. I grabbed an unopened bottle and took a big gulp. I happened to take a look at the snack shelf next to the fridge. Mixed in with the instant noodles and snacks are 5 bunches of bananas. The bananas. But that's the exact one I wanted, oh my. Mary must have bought those too. But still, all that fried chicken, and all these bananas. Was she eating more than she had been? She always said that no matter how much she ate, she never got fat, but if she bought this many bananas at once, they were going to all turn brown and squishy before she could eat them all. Banana bread. God, now I want banana bread. Curses. Does Mayuri really need all these bananas? Oh, it wasn't Mayashi who bought those, it was me. Oh. Yeah, but... Mayuri's the banana king, so true. But I guess it's Daru right now. I love the pause in the music. This is exciting. Good job, Daru. Huh? Daru quickly cut himself off. I turned toward him and he averted his gaze. He'd been acting really weird this whole time. Was he hiding something? I like that Spicky's having a panic, it seems. Oh yeah, I can hear him laughing in his room. It's really funny. You bought all these? When do you start liking bananas? Yeah, Okabe was already gonna put it together, but then Daru just... Yep. Well, you know, it was Suzuha's idea. She told me to eat some every day because it's good for my diet. Mm-hmm. There was a diet like that before, come to think of it. Some celebrity had gone on TV and said she lost a bunch of weight on a banana diet. But the next day, all the bananas in Japan disappeared from stores. My dad had tried to get in on the boom a little too late and bought a huge supply of bananas, only to see it flare out and most of them rot on the shelves. I remembered that. Oof. So don't buy so many at once. They've already changed color. Well, whatever. I was hungry, so I decided to take one. I took a banana and peeled the skin. Just don't go overboard with everything, okay? You're right. Yeah. I finished the banana in 3 bites and went to toss the peel in the burnable trash can. I was confused about that, but I actually think it's pretty normal to burn trash in Japan, so that's actually not that weird. 3 bites? Yeah, I thought that too. It's like, that's oddly specific, but okay, buddy. And then I noticed something strange. Oh boy. The can is filled with bananas. Were they gel bananas? You trying to show off or something? Maybe. More than anybody could possibly eat. Over half the can was filled up with bananas. And it wasn't just the skins. Some of them were unpeeled, but half rotten, and the summer heat made them give off a nasty stench. Either small banana or Okabe deep-throated it. There's no in-between. I remembered seeing something like this once before. Mm-hmm. We're making gel nanas again? That's right. It was when I was living here a year ago, doing experiments every day. And then my mind flashed back to the contents of the fridge, and that bizarre stockpile of juicy fried chicken. It couldn't be. I plunged my hand into the garbage can, not caring about the filth. Wait, Okarin! Tyler was clearly uneasy, but I ignored him. I was right. Under the remains of the bananas, I saw tons of boxes of empty fried chicken. No matter how much Mighty liked them or how much of a glutton Daru was, no one would voluntarily eat this much frozen chicken every day. I went deeper into the garbage can, and then I found something I didn't want to see. Jalnana?
No.
Hey.
Daru.
What? Bananas and frozen fried chicken. This brings back a lot of memories, doesn't it? Yeah. Must have been a year ago. We used to do all kinds of experiments like this. We'd waste a lot. Somebody would get mad at us. She'd tell us not to waste food. That's right. So we ended up having to eat the bananas that we warmed in the microwave to get rid of them. They tasted terrible. But we never were able to eat these. What I pulled out of the garbage can was a green gooey mass. It was a thick, disgusting liquid like you'd expect to see if you crushed a giant bug. Yum. So true. Looks so tasty. The goo dripped out of my fingers and splattered onto the floor. It was what used to be a banana. What we once called a jalnana. Oops. Let her put his hands to his head. But then he evidently gave up on hiding it. Whoops, I didn't expect you to find out this easily. I think I'd hide a little more. He's very observant, man. I was actually going to tell you soon, because I needed your help. Daddy tossed me the towel. Evidently he'd already used it because it was covered in black soot. We decided to wipe the jalnana off my hands with it anyway. Daddy went into the development room and started moving boxes and dust covers. Here. This is Unit 02. And on the table appeared the horrible future gadget number 8, which I had built, improved, and finally dismantled a year ago. You put it together again. I wasn't sure if I should call it Unit 02 or version 2. I don't care about the name. Are you serious? I can't believe you're saying that. We used to have a roundtable meeting and have a lot of fun picking names for the future gadgets. That's all dark history. Really? Daddy was looking at the dust-covered future gadgets that were sitting on the shelf of the development room. There was something like fondness in his gaze. Why the hell was he acting like this? Did he think of that nightmare as some kind of happy youthful memory? I was about to tell him to go screw himself, but held it in. Did you forget what I told you? This thing is dangerous. It's not something we should have. But I need to make a time machine in the future, you know? Which means I need to research this as a first step, I think. Daru. I gave up on trying to hold it back. I got up in his face and yelled at him. I told you again and again and again and again, right? I told you what happened because of this thing. I told you what I went through. Mayuri was killed because we made this thing. Kurisu was sacrificed because we made this thing. Your daughter went back into the past and committed suicide because we made this thing. If you've forgotten, you want me to go over it again? Are you that stupid? Are you so dumb that you won't understand unless you experience it for yourself? Oh, you know, it's just, there's no way in hell she's not hearing any of this. You're the one who's being stupid, Rentaro Okabe. There she is. I suddenly heard an angry female voice behind me. I looked back and saw Maho Hiyasho glaring at me. What? Hiyasho? Oh, legal lolly for the win. What happened to your clothes? And wait, what are you doing here? Her clothes aren't in the shower room. That's fine. No, this is... I just couldn't sit there and listen. Don't stare at me. I'll sue. It's your fault for coming out like that. Hold on. I'll go get dressed. Maho quickly went back into the shower and came out dressed a moment later. Yeah, I don't know where her clothes are anymore. Oh well. Just getting them on now. There we go. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Have you been hiding here since I first arrived? Who cares about me? Did you fake that picture of you in Okinawa that you sent to Dr. Lixin? Both the professor and I were completely taken in by that picture of her standing on the Okinawan beach. But it seemed we'd both been tricked. It was well made enough that Daru must have been involved. So you didn't come to Japan to visit Okinawa? Yes, that's right. I came for that machine with a stupid name. What was it again? Phone wave name subject to change? I thought the curtain led to a hallway that led to the shower room proper. I'm gonna need a floor plan of this place. Same, because I really don't know anything anymore. The more I think about it, the more confused I get. I told you what happened because of the D-mails too. Or maybe she did have her clothes in the little hallway, but she had the door to the shower room itself closed. But, like, overhearing all of that nonsense, she couldn't help but burst out before getting dressed, maybe. That's my guess of the situation, but I could be wrong. I don't know. We don't really know what's going on behind that curtain. Are you gonna repeat that? No. How? If you send a D-mail, Echelon will pick it up, and the world line will go back to... go back from beta to alpha. And then Mayuri will die again. I won't be able to save her no matter what I do. She'll keep dying for all eternity. Fastened her up a towel, then put on her shirt. So true. And then I had a terrifying thought and stared directly into Maho's eyes. No way. She of all people couldn't possibly. I trusted Maho completely. I didn't want to believe she was capable of it. But the terrible machine that I just confronted had drained me of any kind of rationality. Yeah, noted. Flashback felt like it was going to hit me any second. Images of Kurisu and Mayuri's death were flashing through my mind. And so I said something I never should have said. You aren't trying to bring back the Alpha world line, or you? What? Are you trying to create a world where Kurisu lives and Mayuri dies? What? You asshole. Oh. Oh, jeez. Okay. This escalated. I mean, it's already been escalated, but like, you know. There was an impact on my cheek. And a loud sound in my ears. Nope. Next thing I knew, I was laying on the ground face up. It was a while before I understood what had happened. The left half of my face felt like it was on fire. It is indeed how you know Okabe and I are best buds. I appreciate this. I was punched by Daru. I know him for 5 years, and this was the first time anything like that had happened. Apologize. Apologize to Mahotan right now. But, wait, stop it, Hashida. Nah, Okabe deserved it. He, in some sense, literally knocked into him. I can only imagine how much you're suffering, Okarin. So I'm not giving you any cheap sympathy. But in the end, you're just using that as an excuse. Mahotan, Suzaha, even Mayashi. Do you know how much they've done for you? Aww. That's enough. Stop it. Maho grabbed Daru's body and tried to hold him back. Let me go. He's not going to understand unless I hit him again. I think the first punch is enough. Maybe. Actually, we'll see. That's enough. What you just did was enough. So calm down. And this time Maho put her hand on Daru's shoulder. I'll explain the rest. Go wash your face or something. Go. She pointed toward the shower room and Daru finally seemed to get control of himself again. Fine. He looked a little awkward as he lowered his fist. Normally he hated any kind of seriousness, so in a situation like this, you can always tell one of his perverted gentleman jokes. But there were no jokes as he vanished beyond the curtain into the shower room. A moment later I could hear the sound of the water. Christ. Maho is looking down at me. This is your fault for being weird. You're right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I know that. You're not like that. Come on. Can you stand up? I grabbed her hand and slowly got up. I'd taken a solid hit when I wasn't expecting it, and so my head was still a little dizzy. Wait, did Daru just punch Kyouma back to life like Suzaha did that one time? I don't think so. But he definitely literally knocked some sense into him, though. That much is for sure. That hurt. When somebody who's normally gentle finally gets mad, he's really strong. That's right. And when someone gets mad for someone else's sake, not their own, I think that's wonderful. This has changed my opinion of him a little bit. Maho seemed a bit happy as she looked toward the shower room. Only a little bit. Yeah, only a little bit. Because he's always sexually harassing me. Maybe he's fallen in love with you. Kids do that all the time, you know? Tease the girls they like. He's a kid at heart, after all. I mean, he's still a kid, even if he's only 18. You gotta be kidding me. Do you want Suzaha to be my daughter? That would be bad, yeah. I chuckled a bit, but quickly stopped and turned to face Maho. The difference between our heights was so great that I was looking down on her. If you want my subjective opinion, this world exists because of Kurisu's choice. Maybe is safe because of Kurisu. She can live and be happy. I have to protect that. You're a scientist. You're a lot smarter than I am. So you can understand, right? You can understand the laws of the universe. Yeah. Yeah. Maho quietly nodded. You could call it God if you wanted to. It's stupid for humans to challenge God. But I tried anyway, and then I tried a dozen times more, and then I tried 100 times more after that, and I failed every time. It was all useless. God will never forgive human arrogance. You're right. Maho's looking out the window. It was as if she was thinking back to her homeland and ancestors. God is a popular guy back home, and among the people of Okinawa. I learned those wonderful beliefs from my parents and grandparents too. I'm a scientist, but I would never mess with God. But then, Maho shook her head a little, then looked up at me with the piercing gaze. The God you're talking about, that's completely different. Her words were sharp, with no room for disagreement. The laws of the universe, those are just the equations that define the world. The wonderful being called God has nothing to do with them. There's no reason we can't solve them. I was about to respond, but before I could, Maho went inside the development room. I had no choice but to follow her. I'm well aware of the relationship between Echelon and the D-males, how dangerous it is. Don't worry, we've sealed away the D-male function for now. What you're concerned about is never going to happen, because I won't let it. I'm not letting us go back to the Alpha world line. Of course. Hashida and I are working on a way to avoid the danger of the D-male and to neutralize Echelon. But before we start spending resources on that, there's something we have to do first. Something personal. Maho tapped the top of the phone wave Unit 02. What we're researching now is the time leap technology that you say Kurisu developed. Then, this can only time leap. That's right. She was right. I was looking at a time leap machine, not the phone wave name subject to change. I could tell they recreated all the improvements that Kurisu had made to the phone wave. The most obvious was the PC and monitor that were connected to the microwave. Connected to the PC was a headset and what looked like a cord covered in electrodes. In this world line, only I knew the details of how the time leap machine was set up, and I hadn't told Daru or Maho about them. In other words, with only some small hints, Maho had managed to create the same thing as Kurisu. To be honest, it's really frustrating. Frustrating. The more research I do, the more I realize that I can never be Kurisu. I can get as far as digitizing the memory data and transferring it to a cell phone along with the top-down search signals. But I still can't clear the biggest hurdle, even though Kurisu could. The data compression, right? Maho nodded. I just can't solve the mystery of how she managed to compress all those terabytes of data. Zip files of zip files of zip files, just kidding. And that's the part that Kurisu had struggled with the most too. But in the end, with Daru's help, she'd been able to do it. Did Kurisu tell you anything about it? That's how you make a zip bomb. She seemed a little unhappy as she asked me that. Asking for the answer meant giving up on finding the solution for herself, and so it meant admitting defeat. Maybe that was really hard for her. Guess she's chosen to put completing the machine first. But I had no intention of giving her the answer right away.
前に
You made me a
俺も経験した
promise
ことを
when we
話した時
last
に
talked, right?
約束をしたよな。タイムマシンでマキ
That
と
you
クリ
wouldn't
ス
try
を
to
救おう
save
なんて
Kurisi Makase
絶
using
対
the
に
time
考える
machine.
な。
ええ
That's right.
今でも
Do you still
その
intend to
約
keep
束
it?
を守るつもりがあるか。その気がないなら
If you don't, I can't help
協
you.
力はできない。
Maho didn't answer for a while. But without even looking at her face, I could tell she was being torn apart inside.
もちろん守るわ。
Of course I do. I promised you,
あなたと
after
の
all.
約束だもの。
After a long pause, she gave her answer. I couldn't help but laugh.
君は嘘が下手
You're
だ
a
な。
terrible liar. With that look
そ
on
んな
your
顔をしてい
face,
たら
it's obvious you're not telling me the truth.
話は終わった
We're
な。
done talking. Then I left the development room. I looked for the shower room, but I could still hear the sound of falling water from within. Daru was showing no signs of being done.
なあ、誰
Hey, Daru. I was the
バカは
stupid
俺だっ
one.
た。
I'm really sorry.
本当にすまなかった。
I spoke, but there was no answer. Maybe he hadn't heard me. It seemed better for both of us if I apologized tomorrow.
また
I'll be back
明日来るから。
tomorrow. That's all I said as I headed toward the door.
岡部さん、
Okabe. Reaching Steins Gate means having your Mairi Kurisu too. Wait, no. Maho followed me. She came up to me so fast she almost slammed into me.
シュタインズゲートは
Do you think
実在
Steins
する
Gate
と思うんで
exists?
す。マユリさんが死ぬこ
Do
と
you
な
think
く、
there's really another world
そ
line
して
in the gap between the
クリスも
Alpha and
犠牲
Beta
になら
ones
ない
where Mayuri survives
そんな
and
狭間の
Kurisu
世界
doesn't
線は
have to die?
あると思う。
それを目指した
If
俺
you
の
want to
顛
know what
末を知
happened
り
when
た
I
い
tried
な
to reach it, ask
鈴葉
Suzuha.
に聞くといい。
You only tried once, though. Just saying, bud.
結局
In the end.
運命には逆らえなかった。
Yeah, so far. That's what matters, though. It's only been the one time for trying to reach Steins Gate.
あんなのは
Steins Gate is just a
くだら
stupid
ない妄
delusion.
想だよ。
そう言い切ってしまっ
Are
て
you really sure, though?
本当にいいの？ないと
You haven't proven that it
証
doesn't
明されたわ
exist,
け
you
では
know?
ないのよ。
そんなの
That's just the devil's
ま
proof,
さに
though,
悪魔の
right?
証明じゃないか。
Nobody can prove a
そんな証明
negative.
誰にもできるわけがない。
そうよ。
That's right.
あるのかない
You
のか
haven't
も証
proven
明さ
whether
れ
it
ていないの
exists or
に、
not.
あなたは
You given up after one
たった
failure.
一度失敗したくらいで諦めた。
Maho was gritting her teeth hard.
呆れてしまうわ。
I can't believe you.
何
What? I almost went out of control and grabbed her by the shoulders, but I managed to stop myself at the last second.
さっきも言った
I told you before, right? I tried
俺はそれ以
dozens,
前に
no,
何回
hundreds of times
何十
before
回も
that.
何百回も挑んで
私も言ったは
I
ずよ。
remember what I said?
それは
That's not because of the laws of God or whatever they
神の摂理でも何でもない
may
って
be.
世界線もタイ
The
ムマ
world
シンも
lines, the time
シュタイン
machine,
ズゲートなんてものも
Steins Gate,
どれも
they're all just
世
part
界
of the
を構築
equations
す
that
る
make
ただ
up
の
the
数式に
world.
過ぎない。何回も
You failed dozens of times, or hundreds
何
of
百回も失
times.
敗した。だからなんだという
So
の。
what?
そんなの
That happens all
科
the
学の
time in
世界では当たり
science.
前のこと
If you
よ。
fail that many times, then you try 1,000 times, or a million
何千回
times,
も
or a
何万
billion
回も
times.
何億回も挑戦すればいい。そうすれば
And then you're certain
必
to
ず
find
そ
the
こに解
answer.
放は見つかる。
君は
You
君は
you don't know
何も
anything.
知らないし
You
経
haven't
験していないから
experienced it. That's the only reason why you can say something so irresponsible.
いいえ、
No. I've experienced all that more times than I can count. Failures, setbacks, regrets, and the pain that comes with them. And all because of the genius named Kyouma Makise. Equations don't have feelings. Yeah, but it's always humans who solve them in the end. We were glaring at each other. Our faces close enough to kiss. Okay, interesting. Interesting comparison. Maho's gaze burned into me. For some reason, I couldn't bear to look at her, so I turned away. I turned around without saying a word and tried to head out the door, but she grabbed the hem of my shirt and stopped me. I didn't expect that. Do you need something else? And turned around, annoyed. A moment ago, her expression had been so fierce, but now she simply wore a sad smile. It was so different that, for a moment, I thought I jumped world lines. Huh? Maho whispered to me. You're a terrible liar, too. Liar. Was I lying? I put my hands up to my face, trying to figure out what she meant. But that didn't tell me what kind of look I had on my face, of course. So I simply stood there, confused. Liar? What do you mean? I'm not lying. That should have told me something. He said that a year ago. He couldn't even bring up the time machine with you. And Steins Gate was out of the question entirely. You didn't even want to hear the words. What are you talking about? But it's different now. The look on your face is the same as the one I used to have all the time. I lost to Kurisi during the experimental trials. I lost to her with my papers. I lost to her in terms of fame. And I was so depressed I was ready to give up. But in the end, I'd always look at myself in the mirror and yell. Maho pointed to her own heart with her index finger. If you give up on trying, it's over. And then you'll never win. Then she pointed at my left breast. Uh-huh. Your face is the same as mine was. At the very, very bottom of your heart, you're still ready to take revenge. You're ready to take revenge on Steins Gate for making you into this pathetic person. Me? I still hadn't given up. No. That's not true. It is true. You really are just like me. It's like I'm seeing my own reflection. You're still You're stubborn. Once you say something, you never back down. Even if you know you're wrong, you pout like a child and refuse to admit it, which causes all kinds of worry and trouble for everyone else. You know, it would make me feel a lot better if you told me I wasn't like that. But that's why I understand. When it comes down to it, both you and I are going to stand up on our own 2 feet. Am I wrong, Rintaro Okabe? I'll say it again. All the laws of this world are just equations, and every equation can be solved. I'm going to find the key to that answer no matter what, and God has nothing to do with it. And I'm going to reach the world line in the gap, Where Mayuri doesn't die, and Kurisu is still
狭間の
alive.
世界線に続く道へとたどり着いてやる。
After saying all that, Maho was a little out of breath. She had a lot of vitality in her tiny body. Her words, the way she looked, they hit me so hard I couldn't speak.
で、
So,
あなた
what
は
will
ど
you
うする
do?
の？岡部所長、
This is your lab, right?
ここはあなたのラボな
I
ので
can't
しょ
keep running without you forever.
俺は
Like... And then I got a line message. Now of all times. To look at her or not to look at it, that is the question. Either way, we're getting the true ending and Mayuri ending. But still, I had a terrible pronunciation, so I decided to take out my smartphone. No. Well. Oh dear. Oh dear. Big trouble. What do I do? Mayuri. I just happened to pass by her. She's running away crying. I've never seen her so sad. What? Mayuri was crying. I could tell something bad was going on. When she saw my shock, Maho looked over at the phone too. She was crying. What happened? I don't know. I just happened to run into her, so I said hi. And she was crying. I was really surprised, but when I asked what was going on, she was really upset. She said that it was her fault Kurisu had died and that's why you were suffering. Fuck. She heard all of that. She said she should have died instead. No. No, that's exactly why we were suffering, because you were dying. And then she ran away. I ran after her, but I lost her. What do I do, Okabe? What do I do? What? I looked at Maho. Did she hear that? Come to think of it, Tatturu had come out of the shower room at some point and was standing right behind me. It was Mayashi who told me you were coming to the lab. She said she was coming here too. Then that meant there's a good chance she did. Oh no. I felt like my knees were going to give out. Mayuri existed in this world line because of Kurisu's sacrifice. And that was the one thing that Mayuri could never find out. Me, Daru, Suzuha, Paris, Maho, everyone who knew the truth had kept it from her. I needed to find her. I needed to find Mayuri. I can't let her be alone right now. Damn it! I ran out of the lab. I don't like, why did you have to change perspective? If Suzuha does not interact with Mayuri, I'm just gonna lose my mind. Yeah, it's still hot. The summer solstice had passed, and by 6 p.m., the sun was finally setting behind the city's skyline. The city's skyline. Part of the sky was still red and the rest a dirty blue. For the past few days, Suzuha worked on the time machine on top of the radio building. It was almost time for her to go back to the past, which meant she was putting a lot more effort into the maintenance work. I think Mayuri's gonna go to Suzuha or try to change the world line. Probably. Parts which could normally get dirty with no trouble had been polished to a sparkling shine. I'm overthinking this. Maybe I really am worried. She finished her work, put her tools back in the box, and stored the box in the time machine's cockpit. Then she sat down on the control seat and took another look at the battery gauge. With the amount of fuel she had left, in less than a month, she wouldn't be able to go back to July 27th, 2010. She had to leave this era before that time limit passed by. The original plan of taking Rintaro to the past looked like it was going to fail. That meant she would have to go on a mission that she'd spent the last year coming up with all by herself.
それにしても
I still can't believe you did this, Dad.
これはないよな
She chuckled to herself and stuck her hand deep into the computer core. Inside was an external hard drive that clearly belonged to 2011, not 2036. Rintaro had probably put it here when her back was turned. I can read. One of the secondary touch panel monitors was displaying a warning that read, "Foreign object detected in cockpit." These machines were capable of breaking through early 21st century camouflage in less than a second. It was clear from the way the fake wires were laid out that monitoring and data retrieval were not its objectives. He'd probably hidden it here because he didn't want anyone to find it. Maybe I should have just pretended she didn't see it and leave it here until she was just about to leave. As she pondered the best course of action, she heard the heavy door side opening. Give me my 80, right?
Oh.
Someone was here. Suzuha pulled her gun from its holster and looked out from the cockpit toward the iron door that led into the building. She still remembered what happened with Kagari the other day. It couldn't hurt to be careful. But when she saw who it was, she relaxed. Yep. Big sis Mayu. I almost never see you here. She put her gun away and jumped out of the cockpit to welcome her. Suzu. Are you crying? What happened? Suzu had no idea why the always smiling Mayuri would be crying. Why didn't anybody tell me? Huh? Why didn't anybody tell Mayushi the truth about her and this person named Kurisu Makise? She almost spoke, but quickly cut herself off. How does she hear, from whom, the cruel truth that Mayuri's survival depended on Kurisu Makise's death? There was nothing in the world Suzuha had wanted to see less than the look on Mayuri's face when she discovered that. Who told you? Well, there were only a few people who knew the truth. Excluding herself, only Rintaro, Itaru, Ferris, and Maho. None of them would deliberately tell her. In fact, they'd all hidden it for her sake. I heard Okarin and Maho talking. Then it was an accident, after all. Hey, Suzu, can you tell me about something? About Mayushi and Okarin in the year 2036? Suzuha wasn't really sure what to say. To be honest, she didn't want to say anything at all. It wasn't something that would make her feel better. You'll be happier not knowing about the future. Another line of tears spilled down Mayuri's cheek. Mayushi's not good for anything, no matter what world she's in. The world needs Kurisu a lot more than it needs me. And so does Okarin. Suzuha suddenly felt like she was looking at the Mayuri she'd known in the future. She thought of the big sis Mayuri that she'd never seen since she was a little girl. And she couldn't refuse her request. The big sis Mayu I knew used to say the same thing sometimes.
そんな時は決まって
And then she'd always stare off into
ぼ
the
んやりと
sky.
空を眺めてるんだ。すごく寂しそうで
She looked so sad,
切な
like
そう
she
だっ
was
た
in
よ。
pain.
私もかがりも
Me and Kagari hated seeing
まゆ
her
姉さ
like
んのそ
that.
んな顔を見るのが辛かった。かがり
Kagari. It was only then that she remembered she'd been keeping Kagari a secret from Mayuri.
かがりっていう名
There
前
was a
の
girl named
女の子
Kagari.
がいたんだ。繊細孤児でさ、
She was a war
まゆ
orphan.
姉さんが引
You
き取ったんだ。
adopted her. So she was
だから
your daughter.
まゆ姉さんの娘っていうことになる。まゆしの
Mayushi's daughter.
娘。優しくて
She was a kind
でも
girl,
強い子
but
で
strong.
ね。
She was
ま
still
だ
so
こんな
tiny,
に小さ
but
いう
she'd
ちか
always
ら
say that it was her job to protect her mama.
ママをそんな子だったから
And so seeing
母
you
親であ
sad
るま
really
ゆ姉
hurt
さんが
her,
寂し
I
そうにし
think.
てるのはかなり答えてたはず。そういえば
Come to think of
7
it,
月7日
today's July 7th,
今日って
Tanabata.
七夕って言うんだってね。
Huh? Yeah,
私は子
when
供
I
の
was a
頃に
kid, you were the
ま
one
ゆ
who
姉さん
taught
か
me
ら教わ
about
ったん
that.
だ。織姫と彦星
That
が
was the one day of the year when Orihime and
会うことができ
Hikoboshi
る
could
日
see
だっ
each
て。
other.
大気汚染がひどく
The air
て
pollution was so bad you could never see the stars, but you told me about it
ま
anyway.
ゆ姉さんは言ってたよ。雲が夜空を
Even
覆っ
if
て
the
いて
clouds
も
aren't covering the night sky,
星は
the stars aren't
世
gone
界
from
から
this
消
world.
えちゃうわけじゃない。
They're still shining on the other side.
雲の向こうで変わらずに輝き続けてるの。だから
So let's pray
一緒
together,
にお祈
okay?
りしようね。そんなまゆ姉さんの
The
言葉
words you
が
said gave me and Kagari
私や
hope.
かがりには
That's
希
the
望
one
に
thing
な
I
ったん
want you
だ。
to know.
それだけは知っておいてほしい。少なくとも
If nothing else,
私やか
both
がり
she
に
and
と
I
っては
needed you.
まゆ姉さんが必要だった。それに
And
おかり
Uncle
おじさん
Okarin
だっ
really
て
cared about you
死
until
ぬま
he
でま
died.
ゆ姉さんのことを
Your
大事
happiness
に
was
して
the
た
one
んだ。
thing he thought about.
まゆ姉さんの幸せのことばかり考えていたんだ。死ぬ
Until he died.
まで
Maybe that was another cruel truth for her. But Susa had decided that she would hold nothing back now.
そう
That's right.
だよ。おかりんおじさん
Uncle
は
Okarin only lives for another
今から
15
15
years.
年後までしか生きられない。
What?
まゆ姉さんをかばって
He dies protecting you.
死ぬんだ。
No.
おかりんおじさんは
Later,
最
Dad
後
told me
にこ
Uncle
う言って
Okarin's
たっ
last
て
words.
父さんに後から聞いた。まゆりの命を助
I'm
け
really
ること
glad I
がで
was
きて
able to save Mayuri.
本当に良かった。自分は
The whole
まゆ
reason
り
I'm
を
alive
守
is to
るため
protect
に生きてき
Mayuri.
たんだから。
No. Mayuri put both her hands over her mouth.
でも
But you
まゆ
never
姉さ
got
ん
over
は
it,
その
I
ことを
think.
ずっと引きずっていたんだろうな。
Why would she?
私たちには見えないとこ
When
ろ
we
で
couldn't see you. You look up into the Tanabata sky
七
and
夕の空を
whisper
見
to
上げて
yourself.
つぶやいてた。あの日
If my Hikoboshi
私
will
の
come
彦
back
星
to
さん
life
が
that day,
復活していた
would
ら
everything be different now?
全てが変わっていたのかな。あの日
That day,
私の
my
彦星
Hikoboshi,
様
my...
私の
Mayuri was repeating the words to herself. The tears were still pouring down her face. But her sad cries finally came to a stop. She was still shaking, but her voice had gotten quiet.
どういうことなの
What does that
か
mean?
な。私
I think I
今
know
ならわか
now.
る気がする。1年前
A year ago,
私
I was really angry
お
at
かり
Uncle
おじさんの
Okarin.
態度に本気でムカついたんだ。チャンスが目の前
The
にある
chance
の
is
に
right in front of him.
なんで
So
諦
why
めるん
did
だ
he
って。
give up?
そんなおかりお
And
じ
I
さ
was
んを
really
かばっ
mad
て
at you too
甘やか
for
してる
stopping
まゆ
him
姉
from
さんの
doing
こ
what
と
he
も
needed to do.
本当は許せなかったんだよね。でもさ、
But after living here for a year,
ここで
I
暮らし
realized
てみ
that I
て
was the
感じたん
one
だ。
who was wrong.
あの時間違ってたのは私の方だったって。今なら
I think now,
あの日の
I
お
might
か
be
りん
able
お
to
じさん
talk
と
to Uncle Okuni
もっとちゃんと話せるかもしれない。あの日
that day.
それでうまく説
I
得
don't
で
know
きる
whether
か
I
どう
can
か
really change his mind or
そ
not,
こまで
though.
は自信ないんだけどね。
As the sun set in the west, the shadow of the time machine lengthened, and Suzuha's along with it.
私に残されたチャン
I
ス
only
は
have one chance left,
あと一度だけ。それなら
so I think I'm going to bet on
未来の
those
マヨネー
words
さんの言葉
you
に
said.
かけてみようと思う。マキセ・クリスが
I'm not
殺
going
され
back
た
to
日
the
じゃ
day
な
when
く、
Kurisu Makuse was killed.
マユ姉さんの言ってた
I'm going to the day you
あの日
spoke
へ飛ん
of,
で、マユ姉さんの望
and
み
I'll
を
see if I can
叶
grant
え
your
られるか
wish.
どうか試してみる。マユシーの
Mayushi's wish.
望み。
Suzuha gently rubbed Mayuri's tiny little shoulders.
それが
I'm going
シ
to
ュタイン
believe
ズゲ
that's
ート
the
へ
key
向
to
かう鍵
Steins
だって
Gate.
信じてみる。シュタインズゲートを
The
開
key that
く
can
こと
open
が
Steins
でき
Gate
るの
isn't
は
a normal star that's
彦
given
星
up
をやめちゃ
on
った
being
普通の星じゃな
Hikoboshi.
くってマユ姉さんの彦
I
星
think
しか
only your Hikoboshi can
い
do
ない
the
ような
job.
気がするからさ。つまり
So basically,
私が
My
新た
new
に
mission
考案した
plan
ミッションは彦星の
is to
復
bring
活。
Hikoboshi back to life.
父さん流に言う
I
な
would
ら
probably call it
オペレーションアルタイルと
Operation
か
Altair.
オペレーショ
Maybe
ンアークライトと
Operation
か
Aquila.
それとも
Or maybe
アル
since
タイ
it's
ルと
bringing
アーク
Altair
ラ
and
イトを
Aquila
結ぶって
together,
意味で
it'd be
オ
Operation
ペレーション
Deneb.
デネブかな。父さんほどのセンス
I
は
guess I'm not good at coming up with
私には
names like
ない
he
みたいだ。
is. Mayuri tried to draw herself up as best as she could on wobbling legs. Hey,
すずさん
Suzu,
そのオペレーショ
that
ン
operation,
マユシ
let
にやら
Mayushi
せて。
do it. Suzuha stared at the girl in front of her, unable to believe what she just heard.
これは危険な
This is
賭
a
けだ。
dangerous bet.
私の考
If
えが
I'm
間違
wrong,
って
you
て
may simply
失敗す
fail.
るだけかもしれない。タイムマシンにも
The
限
time
界が来
machine
て
is
て
at its limit, and I
いつ
don't
制
know
御
when
不
it'll
能
go
に
out
な
of
るかわから
control.
ない。
It may
そのま
simply
ま消滅して
vanish.
しまうかもしれない。それでも
Even so,
お願い。
please.
マユシーだって
Mayushi's a
ラ
lab
ボメンな
mom
んだよ。
too, right?
おか
I
り
don't
ん
want
と
to just
誰
have
かに
Okuni
助
and
けても
Dada
らっ
save
て
me
ばっかり
and
なの
never
は
do anything for them.
嫌だよ。
Mayuri rubbed her eyes hard and wiped away her tears. Life was slowly returning to her frail body.
マユシーね。
Mayushi
おかりんの
likes
ことが
Okunin.
多分
Mayushi loves him as much as Kurisu. No,
ううん
that's not true.
違う。
Mayushi knows she loves him a lot
クリ
more.
スさんに負けないくらい
Mm.
ずっと大好き。けど
But
だけど
but
私は
I
ホーインキョ
I
ーマ
love
が
Kyouma Hyoin much more.
大好きなの。私がおばあ
When
ちゃ
I
んを亡
lost
く
my
して
grandma and I was about to
この
just
世界から
disappear,
消えてなくなっちゃいそうになってた時、そんな私
he
に向
came
かって
to me and he said,
この世
"Stay
界
in
に
this
ずっ
world
といろって言
forever."
って
He saved me.
救ってくれたの。それが彼なの。
That's him.
私
My
の彦星
Hikoboshi.
様なの。私
I
ね
want to see him again.
もう一度彼に会いたい。あの偉
I
そうな
want to
高
hear that
笑いを
arrogant laugh of his
また
again.
聞きたい。たとえ私が
Even if I know I can never be
織姫様に
Orihime,
なれないって分かってても、それでも
he'll always
私
be
にと
my
っての彦星
Hikoboshi,
様は
and no one else ever will.
これまでもこれからもずっと彼以外にはいないんだもん。
I want to see Hyoin Kyouma again.
会いたいよ。
The girl who could never be Orihime shouted all of her feelings to the world at the top of her lungs. And right in that instant, Caesar heard her to sound from her cell phone that she never heard before. But what is this? It was the sound of a video message. When she saw the sender and subject line, Suzuha gasped. This is a video message from the future. I stuck my hand against the wall of the brown tube workshop to catch my breath. There was no sign of Mayuri. I got to meet Queen Yan squared, and Sanny Shoppa could imagine her visiting and had no luck. Okabe! Maho came back. She was out of breath too. Did you find her? No. I looked around and I can't find her anywhere. The panic was threatening to make me lose control. Where did you go, Mayuri? Why have neither of them thought of the time machine? Daru, did you find her? I'd asked Daru to stay behind and call all of her friends and people she knew. Okarin, the thing is... What's wrong? The phone's not picking up. I called Mayuri a bunch of times too, but it looks like she turned off her phone. That's not it. It's not just my issue. I can't get a hold of anyone. Actually, my phone's had 0 bars this whole time. What? I took out my own phone. Mine's not getting service either. Me too. The lab had never suffered from bad signal before. We went up to the roof and even tried holding our phones up to the sky, but the result was the same. It doesn't work on the roof either. I can't get any signal even outside. Later looked for news on the internet. Thankfully, the internet connection was still active. Hey, there's breaking news. There's an article on the top page of Taboo. Talk about a large-scale cell phone service outage. Wait, what is this? All cell towers in Akihabara for all carriers have stopped working. All carriers? Is that possible? That didn't seem possible to me. Not under normal circumstances anyway. The events of a year ago and the Alpha World line flashed through my mind. That night, when Mayuri was mercilessly killed and all the safety I'd ever believed in was stripped away. That night, when all the pain began, started with a bomb threat at Akihabara station that had shut down the train system. Someone did this deliberately. Something terrible was about to engulf Akihabara. That was the feeling I had. I tried my best to fight off the flashback. Now wasn't it time to be scared. I needed to find Mayuri. I couldn't leave her alone out there. I gritted my teeth to fight off all the trauma I was carrying and raised my head. Daru, the internet's still working, right? Oh, yeah. I'm talking to Luca and Amanishi online right now. Okay, then they should be willing to help look for Mayuri. We're gonna go look around again. Hold it. There's another thing that's bothering me. I went to that channel to look for information on the outage, and somebody's cracked the occult board. And the one doing the cracking is, well, look. Heather brought up the @channel page on his screen for me to see. I wondered why it could possibly matter, but decided to take a look anyway. What? Attention, Salieri's neighbor. Oh dear. Salieri's neighbor? That was the nickname I used to make contact with Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha. What's going on? I decided to leave the explanation for later and clicked on the thread. It was all comments by a single person. It's all Kuri Gohan, Kamehameha, but it's a bunch of Let's see what we can actually read. To Salieri's neighbor, it appears that we twins will now be temporarily driven from the place where we belong, so I may not be able to come back here anymore. Our Father in heaven has developed a way to force out our most secret places. Now we should become good children, his children who cannot tell lies. And thus we will be forced to tell him of the secrets of controlling time, and where those secrets lie. It is a great sorrow to me that I cannot protect those secrets. I hoped we could become good friends, but this is probably goodbye. So lastly, I'd like to pass a message to the person I respect the most. I can't really read. I always regarded myself as an essentially ordinary intellect. Can't read most of those, but tell her that she is the real Amadeus. The first comment had gone up an hour ago. After that was just an endless string of meaningless numbers and letters. What's this supposed to mean? Maho was looking at the screen from the side and evidently sensed that something was amiss from the text. I answered her. Amadeus. What? This is the Amadeus Kurisu. Something happened to Kurisu. This is some kind of message. She was trying to contact me with it. The secret to controlling time. That's the time machine. Information about the time machine linked to someone? Wait, how does Amadeus know about the time machine? Did you tell her, Okarin? Did I? I didn't think I told her when I was a tester, but there's no time to think about that now. Yajo, can you access Amadeus? It's against the rules, but I guess it's not a time to worry about that, is it? Hashida, can I use your computer? Maho took Daru's seat and used his PC to access the Brain Science Institute's computers. She put in her ID, Salieri, and her password. She pushed the enter key, but Amadeus didn't appear. This isn't what usually happens. What's going on? Confused, she typed a series of commands into the PC with a speed that rivaled Daru's. But no matter what she did, the Amadeus program didn't appear on her screen. When she finished accessing every server at the Institute, she stared at the computer and bit her lip. What's going on here? This is just impossible. What happened? It's gone. Amadeus' program and all of the memory data is gone. Just like the message from Kuriko on Kamehameha. Daru, hack it. Not just the Brain Science Institute. Force open every bit of data Victochondria has. Everything from servers to individual PCs. Okie dokie. Yajo, help him, please. Right. But the answer was the same. Not only the Amadeus Kurisu, but the Maho as well. Were nowhere to be found on the Victochondria servers. There was no trace of them. Their very existence had been erased. Did they move them somewhere else? That's impossible. The only person with that level of administrative privilege for the Amadeus system is Dr. Lexinen. Dr. Lexinen. I went flashback to the message from Kuriko and Kamehameha. Who was our Father in Heaven whom Kurisu had spoken of? If Amadeus considered anyone a father, it would be... No way. Did Dr. Lexinen do it? Don't make assumptions like that. It's a lot more likely that his ID and password got cracked. I don't know about that, sweetie. Is there any way to get a hold of Dr. Lexinen? The phones weren't working, and there was no way to tell when he'd see an email or if he'd respond. Why aren't you guys like, we should check on the time machine? Like, isn't that an obvious thing to do right now? Whatever. Maho was thinking hard, but it didn't seem like she was having any luck. We were getting nowhere. I was concerned about Mayuri, but I couldn't ignore the danger that was right in front of me.
とりあえず
For now,
ラジカンへ
I'll
行
go
って
to
く
the
る
radio building.
クリスの計
If
画通り
Kurisu's
だ
warning is right,
狙われるのは
that's
あそ
what
こ
they'll
だ
be after. There it is.
僕も行く
I'll go too.
お前とヒヤちゃん
You and
は
y'all just stay here and gather information.
マユリが戻ってく
Mayuri
るかも
might
しれ
come
ないから
back.
ただし
But if something
何かあ
happens,
ったらすぐに
run.
逃げろよ
I gave my orders and ran out of the lab toward the radio building. This is gonna go well. Suzaha hit the play button on her smartphone's video display. The video was heavily compressed and covered in static, but she recognized the person that appeared. It was a face she'd known her whole life, a face that had been with her both in her past and her present. The man, who she still remembered holding her up in the air as a child, was probably about 35 in the video. Hey, Suzaha, how you doing? It's Daddy. And it's the year 2025. I'm really sorry to dump all this on you. Really. Forgive me, please. If you're seeing this video message, that means you, no, you and Maishi have found another path to Steins Gate. In other words, the plan's moved to the next phase. You might be angry and wondering why I didn't tell you all this from the start. But it wasn't that I didn't, it's that I couldn't. In the world line you originally set out from, I never planned the operation that I'm about to describe. You've probably already noticed, but the choice you and Maishi just made has changed the world line a little. In other words, I'm a different Itaru Hashira than the one in your world line. But Suzaha, please don't get the wrong idea. No matter what world line I'm in, I love my daughter. No. By the way, which daddy's more handsome? Hello. I can't take the translation being daddy. I've started weightlifting lately. Huh? Daddy, stop screwing around and explain the mission. That's right. We all know you'll give it up in a week. Stop wasting her time. We'll run out of time to record now. Come on, don't rush me. So anyway, let me get on to the real reason I'm sending you this message. I'm about to share with you the details of Operation Aquila. This is gonna take everything you've got, and not a single mistake will be allowed. Pay attention, and don't miss a word. Got it? Suzaha paused the video there. If he was going to tell her to pay attention, it must be important. If she was going to memorize it all, she needed to calm down. To be honest, getting a video from her dad in 2025 had made her really excited. It felt like her father was telling her that the plan she'd come up with on her own was the right one. That's why she needed to pay careful attention. Mayuri was standing by herself, typing something into her phone as fast as she could. When the video had arrived, she told Mayuri that they may have to leave for the past today. There must have been some reason the video was sent today, at this time. That's how it seemed to Suzaha. What are you doing? Oh, Suzu, how's it going? Are we going to leave today? I'm about to check the mission parameters. I see. So, if we do leave today, Maishi's gonna go missing, right? I don't want to worry anybody, so I want to write a message to Mom and Dad, and to all my friends. Might come off as a suicide letter, but that's okay. I hope you got time to at least tell Uncle Okuni in person. She would be done going over the mission and deciding on a course of action by sunset, probably. I wrote a message to Okuni too, so it's okay. Just a message. Yeah. Mayuri smiled and nodded. There were no more tears in her eyes, but you could still see wet lines drawn down her soft pink cheeks.
なんだか
It's kind of
恥ずかしいから。
embarrassing. But you know,
でもね、
I wrote this
せっ
message,
かく書
and
いた
then
メ
I
ールだ
realized
けど
maybe I can't
送れ
send
ない
it.
かもしれ
So
な
now
い
I'm
な。
not sure what to do.
今ちょっと困ってたところなのです。
なんで？
Why?
電波、
I
圏
can't
外に
get
な
a
ってるん
signal.
だ。
Maybe this is a
場
dead
所が
zone?
悪いのかな。
県外？
You can't get signal? Suzuha looked at the screen on Mayuri's phone. There wasn't a single bar on the antenna.
おかしい。
That's
この場
strange.
所なら
You can always
い
get a
つだって
signal
電
up
波は
here.
入ってた。
Suzuha took out her own phone to double check.
私のもだ。
Mine too. When she saw that Mayuri was using a different cell carrier than her, she frowned.
嫌な予感がする。
I got a bad feeling about this. She told Mayuri to hide against the time machine, and she silently moved up against the iron door leading up to the stairs. She opened it a crack, taking care not to let it creak. That's fair. She looked inside the building. It was as quiet as ever. There's nothing on the floor below but a room for events and some storerooms. So on weekdays like this, it was always quiet.
気のせいか。
Did I imagine it? No, you didn't. Whatever it is, you definitely didn't. She tilted her head sideways as she softly tried to close the door. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. At Mayuri's scream, she turned around, just in time to see armed agents in camouflage jumping over the fence. One of them had grabbed Mayuri.
外壁をよじ登って
They
きたの
climbed up
か
the walls. Suzuha deeply regretted her mistake. She was well aware that someone could try to come up the walls, but the video from her dad had made her so excited she lowered her guard. There were about 30 men, all carrying small assault rifles. With Mayuri as their hostage, Suzuha couldn't do anything. Drop your gun and get on the ground. Hands on top of your head. None of the men gave her an order in a cold voice. Resist and we can't guarantee this girl's safety. He pulled Mayuri close and put the gun to her head, then flipped off the safety. Damn it. She had no choice but to obey. Suzuha took the gun out of her holster and put it on the ground, then took a pose where she couldn't resist. Suzu,
喋らないで。
don't talk.
こいつら
They'll kill you if they
いざ
have
となれ
to.
ば本気で姉さんを殺すよ。私は大丈夫だから。
I'm just fine. From the way they moved, she could tell they were veteran professionals. That meant they were certainly after the time machine, and probably well aware that only Suzuha could operate it. That, Suzuha decided, meant they wouldn't kill her if they didn't have to. The man who'd spoken to her first, who was probably the leader, knelt down next to her. She was searched, roughly, to make sure she wasn't carrying any other weapons.
これでも一
I'm a
応
girl, you know.
女なんだ。
Show some respect.
少しは気を使えよ。
They took the small pistol she carried for emergencies, as well as several different kinds of knives. Target 2 and Target 3 have been secured. What about you? The leader spoke to the group of men gathering around the time machine. Target 1 secured. It's locked, and anything we try is met with an error. Several of the men had gone inside the machine as well. Leaving the hatch open had been Suzuha's own mistake, but still, it upset her to see them inside the machine.
何をしても無駄だ。
It's no use.
そい
It
つ
won't
は
listen to anyone but
私じゃ
me.
ないということを聞かない。
Stand up. The leader kicked her with the heel of his boot. Keep your hands where they are. Move slowly. Try anything and we'll kill the hostage immediately. When she stood up, her hands were handcuffed behind her back. They prodded her from behind to move next to the machine. Biometrics, isn't it?
そうだ。
That's right.
ただし、
But you can't copy my veins or fingerprints. Cutting off my hand or ripping out my eyeball won't work either. Security systems in the year 2036 aren't that easily fooled. The men in camo seemed aware of everything she said. None of them seemed surprised or irritated. Where's the professor? The leader asked the man who was pointing the gun at Mayuri. He's on his way. Target 1 is only useful if Target 2 is with it. Tell him it's impossible without brainwashing. Suzuha gritted her teeth when she heard the word brainwashing. She had seen many of her friends and Valkyrie undergo this cruel procedure, then be sent back as spies before turning into vegetables. The leader turned towards Suzuha. You know what happens when you're brainwashed, I believe. The professor doesn't use drugs. He alters your brain directly. I think it would be smarter just to help us. What do you think? The professor. Where she'd come from, an old doctor with that name had led a brainwashing team that had attempted to destroy Valkyrie. Suzuha had hated him more than anyone else. They hadn't used drugs either. It was safe to assume that both professors were the same person. Fine. She nodded. I'll help you. But I can't do it like this. Suzuha jingled the cuffs behind her back. We'll take off the handcuffs, but if you resist, the girl dies. There's still a gun pointed at Mayuri's head. Even if she tried to resist, it would be impossible to save Mayuri from this many professional soldiers. When she went inside the cockpit, she used her biometrics to bypass the lock and rod of the control console. Lights came on all across the machine and she could hear a low rumbling. Okay, get out. We'll investigate the rest. I don't think you're gonna be able to understand it, but sure. As Suzuha left the cockpit, the leader turned his gaze toward a particular cluster of the men, which seemed to be engineers. That was the moment she was waiting for. Her hand had wandered below the console for just a moment when she left the cockpit. She'd hidden some knives there. Without making a sound, she threw it at the leader. The knife pierced his throat. He went down so quickly he hadn't even had the time to scream. She quickly readied another knife and darted between the men in camo. Her target was the man pointing a gun at Mayuri's head. She dropped her hips low to the ground in an instant. She moved behind him and slit his throat. Blood poured out onto an astonished Mayuri, but there was no time to worry about her. She grabbed his rifle and fired a few shots to force them to the ground. He grabbed Mayuri's hand and ran behind the machine. The plan had gone well so far, but she had seriously underestimated how well trained these men were. The second-in-command quickly moved to the front and worked to re-establish control. All she had was a knife and the gun she'd stolen, and she needed to protect Mayuri, a non-combatant. She was still facing more than 25 active enemies. Whatever the right way to get out of this was, she couldn't find it. The time machine was still active. She couldn't escape because she couldn't leave it here. One of the men fired several rounds toward her, which bounced off the side of the machine. And then Mayuri's head flew back, as if she'd been struck. A spurt of blood came out. This is Mayu. Her cute face was turning blood red. One of the rounds had grazed her after it had ricocheted. She was clutching herself with her arms, and her expression was completely blank. Her tiny body was shaking. Suzuha couldn't blame her. She fired back at the enemy, but they kept drawing closer. I've been through a lot of fights, but I don't think I've ever seen things get this bad. The time machine's maintenance hatch was right in front of her. When she saw that it was there, she visualized her last option in her mind. If I open that, I can blow the machine up from within. If she did that, all of her plans would be ruined. The path to the Steins Gate would be forever closed. But that didn't mean she was cold-blooded enough to sacrifice Mayuri here. Whether world lines were going to converge, maybe Mayuri wouldn't die here at all. But what her father had said during his video message bothered her. You've probably already noticed, but the choice you and Mayushi just made has changed the world line a little. In other words, I'm a different Itaru Hashira than the one in your world line. Which meant that Suza had no proof that Mayuri would be alive in 2036 now. But the world line really changed. Of course, for the sake of Operation Aquila, she hoped it had. But that meant she wouldn't be able to move from this place. Imagine the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario. That would be these men taking the time machine. They could turn the world line into something even worse than the one Suzaha had experienced. It might become a world line where not only Mayuri's life wasn't safe, but Daru's wasn't either. If that was going to happen, she had to make her choice fast. She kept a careful eye on the men, and as soon as she saw an opening, she opened the maintenance hatches by a magic lock. She could see part of the engine, which was still giving off a quiet rumble. She turned her gun sights on it. Fortunately, the unit that created the Kuro black hole still wasn't active. Even if she blew up the machine here, it probably wouldn't cause serious damage to the space-time continuum. As soon as she saw that, she went to pull the trigger. No! And Mayuri's voice stopped her. Don't destroy it. Don't stop me. I've already made my decision. Suzu. Mayuri had stopped her once before, and once again, she hesitated for just another instant. On the battlefield, that instant can decide your fate. She took a quick look around again, and then she froze. Next to the men in the camo was the girl in a dark motorcycle student helmet. Her? Kaguri? Was it Kaguri who had leaked this place's location to them? She was well aware of Kaguri's abilities after their 2 battles. If she wasn't completely in control of herself, she'd be killed instantly. She talked to herself. I'll have to give up on my own survival. How many would she have to take with her in order to give Mayuri a chance to escape? Right now, the only thing she could afford to think about was getting Mayuri back to Rintaro Okabe. But just when she made her decision, she felt Kaguri staring at her, or more precisely, the blood dripping down Mayuri's forehead. And just after that, Kaguri did something she hadn't expected at all. What did you do to Mama? What did you do to Mama? There was a scream. No, it was the howl of an enraged beast. And then the slaughter began. Okay. Kaguri grabbed the second-in-command's head with her left hand. With her right, she steadied her rifle. After she fired, there was very little left of his head. Jesus. The rest of him dropped to the ground. What are you doing? She slammed the piece of tattered flesh that had once been a man's head into the ground, and with no warning at all left from one screaming man to another. She fired her gun into every one of them. What did you do to Mama? What did you do to Mama? What did you do? I don't think the blood on the ground was there before. Nope, it wasn't. Even when her targets were already soaked in a sea of blood, she kept firing until their limbs were blown apart into unrecognizable rags. Some of them tried shooting her to protect themselves, but no matter where she was struck, Kaguri didn't even flinch. When her magazine ran dry, she drew forth long military-style cleavers. Holding one in each hand, she used them in her military combat training to slaughter anyone she saw. Their entrails were scattered all over the twilight rooftop, covering her whole body in blood and bits of flesh. Yeah, that's fair, Mayuri. Cover your eyes, don't look. It's suddenly rated R. Don't look. Cover your ears too. Suzuha held Mayuri's head tight to her chest. Mayuri was shaking from fear, but she did as she was told and clamped her hands down over her ears. Even so, she could probably still hear the sounds of ripping flesh and shattering bone. She's not even human anymore. Even Suzuha had gone stone cold in shock. During all her time in combat, she'd never seen a one-sided slaughter like this. She'd experienced this when they fought, but Kagari seemed to feel no fear or pain. She simply focused all her energy on killing her opponent. It was often said that humans unconsciously avoided using all their muscle power to protect their own bodies, but Kagari seemed to lack that capability. Just now she stabbed a man who turned to run from her in the back, then tossed his huge body to the ground with though only a single arm. Then she kicked his stomach from below and ruptured his organs, killing him. To surround her in fire. With just one girl. I wouldn't say that, buddy. She's already on a slaughter run. Get around to the right, the right! Finally, after several, perhaps a dozen or more, of the men had been killed, the remainder of the squad started to scream orders at one another. With terrifying reflexes, she dodged between their shots and brutally murdered several more, but... At last, a hail of gunfire struck her left hand, and the knife she was holding fell to the ground. No, that wasn't it. It wasn't the knife that fell, it was her entire left hand. The shock caused her body to stagger back. Now, fire! Someone screamed in a voice that lacked any of the pride and bravery a soldier is supposed to possess. Several more bullets dug into her body. Parts of the motorcycle seat ripped open, and that helmet cracked. Blood that was clearly her own, was not of the men she killed, began to pour out. At last, she fell into a pile of corpses. Okay. They must have thought they finally had her. One of the survivors pointed his gun down to finish her, just as he was about to pull the trigger. Her bestial roar and the man's terrified scream overlapped in a horrible cacophony. She forced herself to leap up and brought the back of the remaining cleaver down on his arm, knocking him back. An instant later, the knife slit his throat and ended his life. Retreat! Retreat! The survivors began to flee in terror. I was wondering when he was gonna come across all that. Well, this is gonna be fun. It's okay. Don't panic. Not yet. There's still time. There's nothing to worry about. Suzuha's just fine. And before long, Mayuri will show up at the lab like nothing happened. Huh? When I reached the radio building, I realized that many people in the crowd of pedestrians were holding their phones up to the sky. There was evidently no service near the station either. I took a moment to catch my breath as I looked at the radio building. I could hear what sounded like a distant explosion. It wasn't just one. The explosions were coming in a series. Several of the people around me were glancing at their surroundings, confused by these unfamiliar sounds. And then I realized that was gunfire. I remember the sounds I heard during the battle between CERN's rounders and the Russian military. The sounds were coming from the roof of the radio building. Had I not made it in time? Suzuha. I ran into the radio building. For some reason, the elevator was under maintenance and turned off. I had no choice but to take the stairs. My heart was pounding so fast that I thought it would burst, and I tripped several times due to how tense I was. I stumbled again and again on the stairs. How many times had I come up these stairs feeling like this? Cursing my lack of endurance, I headed for the top floor. When I got to the 7th floor, I ran into someone I'd hoped I wouldn't see. No. My guess that I'd run into them was right. I wish I wasn't, but... Dr. Listening. Hello, Rintaro. I didn't expect to see you here so early. Dr. Listening seemed perturbed when he saw my face. What are you doing here? Calm down for a moment. We can talk when you're out of breath like that, can we? What are you doing here? What happened to Amadeus? The sampling test I asked you to perform ended 6 months ago. I can't tell you that. That was his answer. Even though Amadeus had disappeared, Luxton was extremely calm. There was no sign of him trying to deal with the problem, and instead of being in his office, he was here. That was all I needed to know. So the message Kurisu sent me was true, wasn't it? The father that she'd spoken of was Luxton after all. What happened to Kurisu and Maho? You're trying to analyze their memory data to extract the information on the time machine, aren't you? Well, that's a surprise. Kurisu told you all that? I thought I was keeping an eye on her. I wonder when she did it. Luxton seemed truly shocked, which meant he hadn't noticed that Kurisu was a Nat channeler. I thought she'd spoken to me there. And then Luxton took out a gun and pointed it at me. How are they getting so many firearms into Japan? Like, come on, man. It seems like you've learned a little too much. Listen. Just, who are you? A scientist. Yeah, right. But science isn't a charity, you see. Are you aware of an American civilian intelligence company called Strategy Focus? Strategic Focus. The American company. Stratfor. I read about them on a conspiracy theory website. I remembered reading that they acquired top-secret information on Russian ballistic missiles that even the CIA couldn't get, and then sold it. The result was the destruction of the CIA's reputation. At the same time, the total reorganization of Russia's military strategy. I've even heard rumors that during the Gulf and Iraq wars, they had obtained information about the warning countries faster than anyone, and spread it as needed. The world government supposedly called them the Shadow CIA. So was he going to use Amadeus for military purposes? Was everything he'd said at the seminar just platitudes and lies? No, I don't think I'm the one who's important here, am I? Anyway, Rintaro. I heard something from Katsumi. Of course. You have the new encephalitis too, don't you? In fact, you seem to know something about how it works. That's very interesting. Would you be willing to offer that information to me? Not at gunpoint. All you have to do is undergo a simple procedure. No. I'll be happy to hire you as my assistant. I think we're over that phase with, you know, the firearm being pointed at me, yeah. For some reason, my whole body broke out into goosebumps at the word procedure. The doctor looks in and I knew. The man with the childlike, mischievous heart and deep scientific curiosity. The man who had been so kind to me, the man I'd respected, was gone. Typical manipulative white man. Anyway. In his place was the cruel scientific fundamentalist, who thought nothing of human lives or hearts as he pointed a gun at me. Or was this who he truly was? Suddenly, he seemed like a terrifying unknown. How about it? He took a step towards me, and then another fierce gunfight broke out above. Looks in and then clicked his tongue at the sound. He glanced toward the stairs. Why am I hearing gunfire? I've told them so many times to handle this peacefully. No boy. I took advantage of the distraction. Luckily, I was still on the staircase. I tackled his legs as hard as I could, and he lost his balance and fell. He hit his head hard on one of the steps, and after a moment's jerk, he stopped moving at all. Oh damn. Might be dead, but I didn't care anymore. I've become a murderer many times over already. That's not the reason why you shouldn't care about that in particular, but, you know, you do you, boo. When I opened the door, what I saw was a vision from the heart of hell itself. There's blood everywhere and bodies, too. What is this? In the middle of the sea of blood was a girl in a motorcycle student helmet covered in crimson as she laid on the ground. She held a giant cleaver. I could see instantly that she was responsible for this disaster. Her shoulders moved up and down a little, so evidently she was still alive. I approached the woman, trying my best not to throw up from the stench. Are you okay, Mama? I could hear her voice from beneath the cracked, broken helmet. I looked closer and saw that some of the blood was her own. Her body was racked by bullet wounds, and her left hand was completely gone. It was a miracle that she had somehow survived all that. Yeah, I was thinking that too. It's definitely a shot. She didn't seem to notice me as she slowly crawled through the blood. I followed her gaze and saw Mayuri huddled beneath the machine. Suzuha seemed to be unhurt, but there's blood on Mayuri's face. Oh, there it is. It's like, I don't see it. No, it's just hiding. Her little fluffy hair makes it hard to see. Something Milky. Listen. Mayuri. I hadn't expected to see her here, and I was worried about her wound. But more than anything, I was glad she was safe. She raised her face when she heard my voice. But the next moment, her eyes locked on the girl in the motorcycle suit. Understandable, have a nice day. She saw the thing crawling toward her and screamed. Mama? Mama. This isn't what it looks like. Kagura didn't want to kill anyone. I just wanted to protect you. You succeeded, sweetie. Kaguri? Did she say Kaguri? It was only then that I realized that the girl in the motorcycle suit was the Kaguri Shina that Suzuha had been looking for. I'm sorry, Mama. Kaguri, that's enough! Suzuha yelled, unable to take any more. Don't move anymore. You'll die. Is that why you're... You'll die if you move anymore, pointing gun. I thought you were Japanese, not American, Suzuha, damn. Anyways. Kaguri didn't want to scare you. Really?
て
I mean it.
思ってなかったんだよ。本当だよ。かがりはただ
I just
ママを助
had
け
to
なくちゃっ
save
て。
you.
だから
So please don't hate
お願い。
me.
かがりを嫌いにならないで。お願い。ママ、
I'm sorry,
ごめん。
Mama.
許
Give me. At last, her strength failed and she collapsed. I returned to my senses and ran to her before Shizuka could get there. Hey, are you okay? I feel like almost all of the motorcycle suit Kaguri CGs were made well before the story was fully fleshed out. I'm not sure about that, but that's okay. Her breathing was wheezy and shallow. One of the bullets had probably pierced her lungs. I thought taking off her helmet would help her breathe, so I put my hand on it to remove it, but she grabbed my hand and pushed it away. No. Don't take
取ら
it.
ないで。
Not in front of
マ
Mama.
マと鈴葉お姉
Vex's
ちゃんの前では。
That's concerning.
お願い。
Please. Okabe.
岡部さん。
Her voice, and the way she talked. I realized who this girl called Kagure Shina was. I looked close and saw I recognized her face. No. You're...
君は
But why?
なぜ
I am confusion.
オカリンおじさん。
Okarin,
か
Okarin.
がりは
Is Kagure okay? Stay back. I quickly motioned to Suzaha to keep her distance.
こっちは任せろ
Leave her to me.
お前は
You take care of
マ
Mayuri. Is she okay?
大丈夫なのか
Check for me.
確認してくれ
She looked upset, but did as I asked. She went back to Mayuri and started to look at her wounds. Mayuri's covering her face and trying not to look at the bodies.
大丈夫。
It's okay.
お姉さんの
It's
傷は
not
深
deep.
くない。
I relaxed a little when I heard that.
よかった。
I'm so glad.
ママ、
You're safe,
無事だ
Mama.
ったんだ。よかった。
I'm still very confused. Kagure's voice was a whisper as I cradled her in my arms. And then she slowly closed her eyes. Her breathing got weaker.
しっかりしろ
Hang in there.
君は
Why? Why are
な
you?
んで
大丈夫。
It's okay.
心配し
Don't
ないで。
worry. Even like
私、
this, I don't
こうなっても
suffer or feel pain.
痛くも苦しくもないから。いつも
I always hear that
神
voice
様
of
の
God.
声が聞こえるの。君は痛くな
He
らない
tells me
よ。
that it doesn't hurt,
苦しくなら
but
な
I
いよ
don't
って。
feel the pain.
だから
So I'm
全
just
然
until you
岡部さん
Okabe.
には伝えておくね。本物は
The real one doesn't know
何も知
anything.
らないです。
The real one.
3年前から。
She's been in Europe on an exchange program for 3 years.
だから
I am so horribly confused. There better be an explanation.
教授が
The professor
私は
manipulated things
秋葉原へ
behind the
送り
scenes
込
to
むた
send
め
me
に
to Akihabara.
裏で手を回して。本物は
The real one
本当
doesn't
に
know anything.
知らない。
Okay, so the main thing I'm gathering here is that the real Kaguri is in the other set of endings. At least that's my guess. I don't know, man. I'm gonna shut up and keep reading.
教授
The professor. Does she mean
この世界線では
in this world
本
line?
当は
Hashida and the real one will meet next year.
橋田さんと本物が出会うのは
Oh. Okay, so you're Yuki? I am... I hate this game. Kaguri opened her eyes a little once more and looked toward the time machine. Toward Mayuri and Caesar, huh?
大丈夫
It's okay.
きっと
I'm sure the real one will love Hashida, too.
橋田さんのこと好きになります
I'm so confused.
私と同じ
Just
よう
like I
に
did.
言っちゃっ
I said it. Don't
た
tell
誰にも
anyone. Okay.
内緒ですよ
And this time, her smile still shining in her eyes. It closed for real. With one final shudder, the strength left her body. Will the real Kagami please stand up? So true. Her life faded away in my hands. There was so much I wanted to ask her. Why had she appeared before us using that name? Yeah, great question. There were so many things I didn't understand. But Kaguri Shina's life ended in that
お
moment.
かりおじさん
Uncle Okarin,
かがりは無
is
事
Kaguri okay? I came back to my senses when I heard her voice. If I told her about Kaguri's death, it would cause her a lot of mental stress. Yeah. That wasn't a good idea. Right now I need to do something about the time machine as fast as possible.
大丈夫だ
Just okay.
この子
I'll take her to a
俺が病院へ
hospital.
連れて行く
I slung Kaguri's bloody body around my shoulder and stood up.
鈴葉
You shut down the time machine and hide it. The cops will be coming.
もうじきもう遅いよ
It's too late. God damn it. What? Before I could open the door, a huge shadow appeared from within. So I guess he didn't die. Pathetic death. Damn. Professor. He wasn't dead. But he must have taken a lot of damage to the head, because his face wasn't the color of clay, and one of his eyes wasn't focusing.
すぐにここは
This will be a war
戦場
zone
になる
soon. Implying it isn't already. Hello, look at all the dead bodies.
アメリカもロシアも
America, Russia, and Japan have all started to
日本も動き出してし
move.
まった
I don't like his face. Fair.
一度回り
Once the
出した
gears start
歯車
turning,
は
he can't stop
もう止
them.
められないカガリが
If Kaguri
もっと
had only
早く
told us
我々に
sooner,
報告していれば
things wouldn't have gotten this
ここま
bad.
で事態は悪化することもなかったものの
Listening and knew about Kaguri. Which meant that I was right. But Suzuha spoke before I could.
そうか
I see. So you're the professor.
かがりを洗脳
You're the one
した
who brainwashed Kaguri, aren't you?
そう
Is that
な
true?
んですかあなたは
Is that the kind of person you
そういう
are?
人だったんですか別に
I,
こ
myself,
の私が
haven't done
何
anything.
かしたわけじゃない
Listening didn't try to deny
む
it.
しろ10年
10 years
ほど前
ago, I found a helpless girl on the streets and helped her so she could grow up like
ここまで
this.
育つよう援助してあげたんだよ援助
Helped her? This never would have happened if she led a normal
こん
life.
な風になるはずないじゃないか
So true. Memory swap, fuck, I almost forgot. I don't know anything, ma'am.
そんなに
Could you not
たまら
yell
ない
like
でくれない
that?
か
My head is killing me.
頭が悪そうにいたもんだ嘘じゃない
I'm telling the truth.
彼女は
She made contact
自
with
分の
me.
方から私に接触してきて整形までし
It
た
was her plan to get plastic surgery and infiltrate this city.
彼女のプランだよ
Okay, now I'm a little less confused.
何でも
Evidently, the voice of God in her head tells her everything she needs to do.
教えてくれるんです
At first, I thought she was a homeless girl making up stories in hopes of getting food. But when I examined her brain and her memories, I found something very interesting and wonderful. This god she spoke of. And even as his face twisted in pain, he smiled proudly. This god she spoke of. It was me, from the year 2036. You're a real mad scientist. Dear. Suddenly, I heard a siren down below. Just hearing the sound made me feel uneasy. I never heard a sound like it before. What is this? This is guerrilla attack information. Repeat, guerrilla attack information. A guerrilla attack may occur in this area. Please get indoors and obtain further information from radio or television broadcasts. I heard that announcement come from the speakers on the street. A guerrilla attack? I could hear several helicopters in the sky above me. Their engines were clearly more powerful than the ones in the media's news choppers. I recognized the sounds from the time I'd spent in the wartime world line. I told you, didn't I? There's about to be a war over the time machine right here. The Third World War is about to begin. I'm sure the people here have no idea World War is about to begin in the middle of their city. I mean... And then Luxon leaned up against a wall, sat down and stopped moving. Whether he passed out or gone into a coma from the brain damage, I didn't have time to find out. It was like the air in the city had gotten heavier. That's how it felt. A chill ran down my spine. I spent a month that war in that world line, and the same future is about to begin here. Something like that couldn't happen in Japan. It was like a TV show or a movie. But I knew instinctively that this wasn't fiction. There had been signs since 6 months ago. Here in Akihabara, Tokyo, in Japan. Spies and soldiers from all around the world had been working in the shadows. So I know this would happen. By refusing Shizuha's request and choosing this world line where Mayuri survived, I doomed over 5 billion people. And I was the one who chose this. It was me. Uncle Ocarine! I looked and saw that Shizuha was pushing Mayuri into the time machine. We're gonna have to jump to the past. What? Take care of Kaguri. Shizuha had no idea that Kaguri was already dead. She leaped into the cockpit. I raced over and grabbed onto the hatch, then looked inside. You can't mean a year ago. You're going back there? So suddenly? It's not sudden. And we're not going back there. She was tapping commands into the console as she spoke. What? What do you mean you're not going back there? I'm borrowing Big Sis Mayuri for a little. Mayuri was already strapped into a seat. Just like I was when I jumped a year ago with Shizuha. Mayuri... You... Ocarine. I heard fierce gunfire and screams in the distance. It looked like some of the spies had started fighting each other. Kaguri may have just wiped out a force from one nation, but an army from an entirely different one was still coming. Ocarine, here. Mayuri handed me a smartphone. I took it without thinking. I can't get a signal, so I'll give this to you, okay? Read the message. I'll tell you how Mayushi feels. Wait, why are you going? If you go, it won't change anything. You can't do anything. And if you go, you won't be able to come back. No. It can't be you who does it, Ocarine. This is Mayushi's job. I don't understand. I don't know what you're talking about. Please, get out of the time machine, Mighty. If you leave the wheel of causality, then I won't know why I chose this world line. Okarin. Mighty gently rubbed my cheek. And she smiled, sadly. She softly pushed my shoulder. It threw me off balance and made me let go of the hatch. Then the hatch closed. Mighty, wait! It was too late. By the time I got it back on, the hatch was sealed shut. The door controls were biometric. Only Suzuha could open it now. The time machine started to roar. A pale light began to gather around it. I've seen this before, in the Alpha World line. Why? Mighty. Just then, a group of armed men kicked open the door and swarmed onto the roof. They were highly trained military operatives. And then an attack helicopter descended from the skies. The soldiers started to shoot at it, but the helicopter seemed to ignore them as it slowly hovered in place. I realized the powerful rocket launchers on either side of its body were aimed at me. No, not the time machine. It couldn't be. No. Don't. But my worst fears were realized. The helicopter fired its rockets. They headed straight for the time machine. It was still there, shrouded in light. The second I yelled, a powerful blast blew me back. The next thing I knew, I was crawling on the ground. I saw that some of the soldiers had already joined the mountain of corpses on the ground, and some of them were still shooting at the helicopter. I stood up as fast as I could. My whole body felt like it was on fire. My skin was burned in places. My clothes had been blasted off. No, my own problems didn't matter. What about the time machine? I looked up toward where the time machine had been. If it jumped in time, it should have been able to avoid the rockets, but... There were scraps of metal everywhere. I could tell they belonged to the time machine. Had I not made it in time? Suzuha. Mayuri. I looked around in the cloud of smoke. Mayuri. Where are you? Mayuri. Suzuha. Answer me. There were bodies everywhere, but I couldn't see Mayuri or Suzuha. I couldn't even tell if they were alive or dead. There are no bodies. They'd simply vanished. After that, things went far beyond my power to control. Brutal battles took place on the ground and in the sky of Akihabara. I'd seen footage of war in the Middle East on the news. Those same scenes were playing out in Akihabara. I managed to slip through the chaos of the battle and barely escaped the radio building with my life. I had no choice but to leave Kaguri's body. I took the long way back to the lab so no one would find me. By the time I arrived, the sun had set. The night sky was illuminated with explosions and tracer rounds. The whole of Akihabara was like someone had poked a beehive. The lights were out at the lab, but inside found Daru, Maho, and Ferris sitting at the TV and computer monitor. Okarin! Okabe! I'm so glad you're safe. Wait, you're hurt. Are you okay? Did you get caught up in the fighting? First aid, quick! I didn't have the energy to answer them. I looked toward the footage on the TV screen. The reporter was wearing a bulletproof vest and hard hat. He was screaming at the top of his lungs, trying to drown out the reporters from the other stations. It's like a war zone. The area around Akihabara Station and Center Street has been cut off. US and SDF helicopters and tanks are... Oh, just now, I heard another huge explosion. Is this really Japan? I feel like I'm reporting on a civil war. The government says that it's terrorism, but I can't imagine. And then a stray shot from an anti-material rifle, fired by a special forces team from some country or another, struck the news van's engine and blew it up. Well, he exploded. There's been an explosion. Are you trying to get killed? Get out of here. This is war. You're going to die. An SDF soldier forced his way onto the screen and yelled at the media to run away. A war? With who? Hell if I know. Just after that, I heard another explosion and the video was cut off. Did they take a direct hit? Everyone fell silent. It's dangerous here, too. I can't go home. The net's in an uproar. Nyokarin, where's Suzuha? And did you find Mayushi? This isn't gonna go well. I know that much for sure. Suzuha and Mayuri, or Suzuha and Mayuri either went back to the past or they're dead. What? Daddy stormed up to me, infuriated. What do you mean? Which is it? I mean, we don't really know, I'm afraid. An attack helicopter fired a rocket launcher at the time machine. It was destroyed. Suzuha and Mayuri were aboard. They're about to go back to the past. I saw some pieces of the time machine left, but it wasn't everything. And Daru, I looked and looked, but I couldn't find Suzuha and Mayuri's bodies anywhere. Not even a piece. It was like they'd vanished without a trace. Do you think they made it back to the past? The tears I tried so hard to hold back came pouring out. Tyler fell to his knees. Paris and Maho were staring at me, eyes wide in shock. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Tyler slammed his fist into the floor. This can't be happening! You can't! I tried to wipe away my tears and realized I was holding something in my right hand. It was the cell phone that Mayuri had given me. She told me to read the message on it. It wasn't locked. I opened the mail folder. There were several unsent messages addressed to her friends and family. One of them was addressed to me. Was this what she wanted me to read? With shaking fingers, I tapped the screen to open the message. Dear Okarin, TUTTURUUU. It's Mayushi. I knew I should probably tell you this face to face, but I wasn't sure if I could say it right, and I wasn't sure what I'd do if you tried to stop me, so I decided to send a message instead. I'm going back to the past with Suzu. You're probably mad, and you want to know why, right? But it's something that I have to do. You see, I was the one who hid my hikoboshi. My strong hikoboshi. He always got back up and left no matter how bad things were. I was the one who hid him beyond the dark clouds. I was wrong. No one was trying to make you save the future all by yourself. You've got Daru, and Shizu, and Luca, and Ferris, and Yuki, and now Maho. So this time, it's my turn. This is my first big mission as lab member 002. I'm sure you're worried, but I'll be fine. And even if something happens, I know you'll come to save me. The Kyouma Hyoin I love will come riding in on the new time machine he made and save the day. I know it. So I'm going. I promise I'll come back. I'll come back to you. So just wait for me a little. Okay? I love Hyoin Kyouma. But you know, I love Okabe Rintaro even more. That's the reverse of what she told Shizuha. That's You forgot, didn't you? You're my hostage. You can't be my hostage if you go away. So true. You want me to come save you if something happens? What kind of hostage are you? Mad scientist of madness. Whatever good to save you. To save you. You're an idiot. But I'm a bigger idiot. Yeah, you are. My heart was in pain. It hurt so much. Just like after I killed Kurisu. Maybe I'd be better off if I just fell over and died. If I do anything to be released from this pain. But in the corner of my tear-blurred vision, I saw it. Hyoin Kyouma's final weapon. His last hope. No. It was the thing that had brought me so many nightmares. I staggered to the development room and threw off the cardboard that was covering it. There it was. The phone wave, name subject to change, Unit 02. The thing that Maho and Daru had been working on behind my back. If I could complete this. I turned around, wiped away my tears, and saw my friends looking depressed in the middle of the darkened room. You said you didn't know how to make a time leap machine, right? Will you do what I tell you? I'll give you the answer that Kurisu discovered. And then we'll activate the time machine. He said time leap machine. But it says time machine. Maho said the one thing she didn't know was how to compress the memory data. Which means that everything else was finished. And I knew how to complete it. Daru was the first to nod. I'm in. Tell us, Okarin. I'll help too.
決まりだにゃ。
It's settled, Nyan. All three responded with no hesitation. They turned toward me and spoke their answers clearly. Alright. Daru, I want you to hack CERN. We'll need to remote control the LHC. We'll use that to compress the memory data down to 36 bytes. That's small enough to send back to the past. Just 36 bytes?
36バイト。
You could tell she was a scientist by the way her face went pale at the number. But sometimes this thing doesn't work, right? Sometimes it's just a normal microwave. It's the 42-inch CRT in the Braun workshop. The phone wave name subject to change only works when it's turned on. Pretty sure that's a zip bomb. Yeah, a little bit, but it works.
ブラウン管。
The CRT TV. Oh, so that's it. Just the word CRT were enough for her to figure it out. The life was coming back to their
そ
eyes.
れなら完
They
成
may
さ
be
せら
able
れ
to
るかも。
finish it after all.
でも
But even if we can't finish it,
いきなり使
are
う
you going to
つも
start using it now?
り。何の実証も
We
せず
can't
に
run human trials
実体
without
実験
doing
のない
anything
ことを
else
するなんて。
first.
自分の作ったもの
You're
に
not confident in what you
自信
built,
が持てないのか。
でも
but
別の世界線で
Kurisu did it already in another world line.
それは
That's because she's
クリスだか
Kurisu.
らよ。
I can't beat
私
her.
はあの子にはなれないわ。
アットチャンネルに
You saw Kurisu's message on that
クリス
channel,
のメッセー
right?
ジを見ただろう。
What? Lastly, I'd like you to pass the message to the person I respected the most. I always regarded myself as an essentially ordinary intellect. And you were always the person I wanted to be. You were the real Amadeus.
クリスにあそこまで
You
言わ
got
せたんだ
Kurisu to say that. And now you're going to run
なのに逃げる
away.
気か。
逃げたりなんか
I'm not running away.
しない
Don't
わ。
underestimate me.
見くびらないで。
I nodded back and smoothed back my hair, which had been mussed by the explosion.
キョウマ
Kyouma,
これ
here. Paris brought me my white lab coat, which had been hanging for ages on the wall in the development room. I bit down on my lip and wiped away the tears one more time. I took the lab coat and slipped my arms through the sleeves. I spun around so the hem of the coat flew up. It stood triumphantly in the center of the lab, just as I used to. And then I declared in a loud
これよ
voice.
り
We will now complete the phone wave, named subject to change, Unit 02. Perform a time leap. Lend me your
力を
aid.
貸してくれ。今度こそ
This time,
俺
I'm
は
never
絶対
giving
に
up.
諦めない。
I looked at Daru and Ferris, and finally at Maho.
たとえ
Even if I failed the first dozen times, or the first 100 times, I'll try again 1,000 times, a million times, or a billion times. I'll save them all. Suzaha, Mayuri,
鈴葉もマユリもそして
and Kurisu
クリ
too.
スもだ。これは
And this is the
その
first step.
最初の一歩となる。
For the first time in a year, I was back to my old self. Apparently muss is a word that refers especially to messing up someone's hair or clothes. I see. Learning. My friends saw me and nodded, their faces filled with resolve. It took almost 2 full days to finish work on the phone wave. Meanwhile, the chaos in Akihabara continued, and it wasn't safe to go outside. Working on the time leap machine while knowing that the battles might reach us at any minute, or that a special forces team might burst in at any time, was a hard job that wore on our nerves. But still, we managed to finish the machine somehow. We jumped. The next thing I knew, I was standing in the middle of an Akihabara alleyway. I was holding a cell phone in my hand. I had a nasty headache, and there was a stinging pain in my neck. I felt a pain on one side of my head like a migraine headache, and the left side of my face hurt really bad. My vision flashed with dark and bright spots. I took a look around. The alley was still peaceful. I heard no gunshots, no explosions. The otaku were enjoying their shopping, and girls in maid outfits were calling out to passerby. That alone was enough to tell me for sure. The time leap was a success. I looked at the time on my smartphone. July 7th, 5:45 p.m. I had around 40 to 50 minutes before the war began. That still wasn't enough. But the 48 limit of the time leap machine meant this was as far as I could go. No point in getting negative. If the machine had been finished just a little later, it would have been too late. I should be glad to have made it here at all. I knew what I'd be doing at this time. I was running around Akihabara looking for Mayuri. First, I needed to call Maho. It was a quick save. Let's do it. Please call, yep. Hello, did you find her? No, but I know where she is. Hurry back to the lab. I hung up before she could answer and went back to the lab myself. Why back to the lab? I guess. She was already there by the time I arrived. You found Mayuri, right? Don't you have to go get her? Thought he was acting a little awkward. Probably because he just hit me. Yajo, you did it. Huh? I grabbed both her hands and shook them. Both Maho and Dori seemed confused as to what was going on. I've time leapt here from 48 hours in the future. What? Seriously? We finished it? Sometime within the next 48 hours? Yeah. But how? I'll explain later. There's no time, so listen carefully. A lot of lives are at stake. I've gone over the mission many times while waiting for work on the phone wave to finish. I thought of everything to say. Yajo, access Amadeus right now and delete Kurisu and Maho as well as all their backups. Lexinen's not planning on using them for peaceful purposes at all. But what? I can't just... I told you I time leaped here, right? Akihabara is going to be a war zone less than an hour from now. They're coming for the time machine. And that'll be the beginning of the Third World War. If we don't stop it, Suzuha and Mayuri will both die. Maho and Dori went pale when they heard that. Really? Wait, really? So do as I tell you, please. I can access the data, but to do anything, I'll need the professor's access rights. That's Dori's job. Crack in and destroy all the data. Okie dokie. Leave it to me. Dori started typing at incredible speed. His daughter's life was on the line. Maho stood next to him and typed in her ID and password to begin accessing Amadeus. I'm going to the radio building. You guys stay here. Okarin, take care of Suzuha. Right. Leave it to me. Dori didn't even look up from his computer. Suzuha, Mayuri. When I made it to the top of the radio building, Mayuri quickly ducked behind the time machine. Okari. Mayuri was trying not to look at me. Her eyes were a little red because she'd been crying so much. She heard me talking about Kurisu's sacrifice in the Alpha World line. My heart ached again, realizing how much I'd hurt her. Mayuri. Are you going to use the time machine to go back to the past? Huh? How? I have time left from 48 hours in the future. I know all about it. But... is that true? Why would he lie about that? I nodded. This place is gonna be a war zone in less than 30 minutes. What?
まさか
Did someone find out about the time machine
ど
somehow?
こかから漏れるの？
Yeah,
まずい。
that's
だ
bad.
ったら
Then
今
we'll
す
have
ぐ
to
に飛
jump
ぶし
right
かな
now.
い。
Suzuha leapt into the time machine.
いや
No, wait
ちょっ
just
と
a
だけ待って
second.
くれ。
Daru and
Daru and
Hiyajo are
Hiyajo-san
dealing with it.
今先手を打っているところだ。優秀な二人だ。
They're smart people.
必ずうまくい
It'll
くだろ
go fine, but
でも、も
if
し
it
仮に
doesn't,
思い通りにいかなかったら、
行かなかったら
if it doesn't,
お前
you
たち
may
は
die.
死ぬかもしれない。
かもしれないって
What do you mean,
どういう意
may?
味？
What happened to
オ
us
カリン
before
おじさん
you
がタイ
time
ムリープ
leapt?
する前の世界で私たちはどうなったの？というか
Wait,
おじさんがタイ
there
ムリ
was
ープし
some
てきたって
fatal
ことは
failure before you
何
time
か
leaped,
致命的な
right?
失敗があった。
I don't know if I should tell them. No, there was no time to
鈴
hesitate.
畑真由里が乗っていたタイ
You
ム
were
マシン
inside the
は
time machine, and just before it jumped, it was hit by a rocket
ロ
launcher.
ケットランチャーの直撃を受けた。でも
But
乗っていたお前たち二人の死
I
体
couldn't find your bodies in
はマシン
the
の残骸の
rubble.
中からは見つからなかったんだ。
なるほど。
I see.
だから
That's why you said maybe.
かもしれないか。それなら未来は
And the
確定
future
してな
hasn't been
い。
decided.
まだ成
There's
功
still a
の可能性は
possibility of
残されてる。
success.
鈴葉なら
I thought
そう
you'd
言
say
うと
that.
思った。
止めないでよ。
Don't try and stop
おじさん。
me, Uncle. Her eyes were filled with resolve. They seemed to say that if I tried to stop her, she'd do whatever it took to ensure I failed. Of course, I had no intention of stopping her. She'd come here to do her job, and there was no way to change her mind. Actually, I'd come here to ensure that she could jump without having to worry about Stratfor's interference. But Mayuri. The uncertainty that had been going in and out of my mind ever since I read her message reared its head again.
なあ、
Mayuri, are you really
本当に行って
leaving?
しまうのか。お前に隠し事
I'm
をしていた
sorry
の
I
は
didn't tell you,
謝る。で
but
も
I
俺
and
も
Kurisu
クリスも
and everyone else,
みんなが
we love you.
お前のことを大好きなんだ。そんなお前を
I
助け
came
た
to
く
this
て
world line because I
この
wanted
世
to
界線
save
にたど
you.
り着いたんだ。なのにお前が行ってし
So
まっ
if
た
you
ら
leave,
俺は
we,
俺たちは
おかり
no, Clarine,
いや
no.
お前
I
の気
know
持ちは
exactly how you feel.
痛いほど分かってる。
ね
Hey,
え、
Uncle
おかりおじ
Clarine.
さん。
And then Suzuha spoke
オ
softly.
ペレーションアークライトが
Operation
Actually,
Aquila has begun.
オペレーション
Operation
アークライト。
Aquila.
私が聞かされてい
It's
た
not the
当初
original
の計
plan I
画
was
とは
told
違
about.
う。
We're not
戻る
going
の
back
は
to
去
July
年の7
28th.
月28日じゃ
We're
な
going
くて
to August 21st.
8月21日になった。
8月21
August
日。
21st. That was the day Suzuha had come in the time machine. And the day I'd given up on everything.
そのオペレーションには
We need Big Sis Mayu for
あ
that
ゆ
plan
姉さ
to
んも
work.
必要なんだ。
I see.
未来の父さんから
That's what my dad told me from the
私はそう
future
指示を受けた。
just now.
ついさ
なん
But
だって
in the future, Daru had come up with an operation I knew nothing about. And he needed Mayuri for it. Her unexpected words sent my mind reeling.
おかり
Oh, cunning. And then Mayuri came close enough for me to hold her and grab my hand tight. She looked a little like she was about to cry, but her eyes were clear and bright.
マユリ
Mayuri,
行かせて
let me go. Okay?
まゆしーも
Mayushi's a lab member
ラブ
too,
メンなんだ
you
よ
know?
落ち込んじゃってる
Mayushi's
彦
going
星
to
さん
take her
を
glum hikoboshi and slap him across the
Mayushi-ga.
face. Okay?
叩いてきてあげるからお願い
Please. I remembered what was in that message. I remembered how she must feel right now. The last remnants of my hesitation slowly melted away.
俺
I
わ俺一人で
thought I was carrying all the burden
何も
myself,
かも背負ってると
but I was wrong.
勘違いしていたんだな周りのことが
I couldn't see what was right in front of
見え
me.
てなかったんだなマユリだけじゃない
It wasn't just you,
俺
Mayuri.
の近くには
I had all the rest of the lab with
た
me
くさんのラボ
too.
メンたちがいるのにな
おかり
Oh, Karin. Why can't we be happy for even just a moment? Like, I suddenly felt a horrible pain in my leg, and the shock knocked me several meters forward and onto the ground. Okay. I looked down at my leg and saw that there was red stain around the calf. It felt like it was on fire. The pain flared up each time my heart beat, and I couldn't stand. Was I just shot?
お前
Your Kagari. A girl in a motorcycle seat was standing there. Kagari had a handgun in her right hand. In her left, she was holding what looked like a bomb. A bomb? What the? There was no sign of the professor or the other men in camo. That much was fortunate. But Kagari had shown up a little earlier than I expected. I hadn't quite planned for this, but evidently I run out of time. Suzuha, get in the time machine. Go now. What? I'm sorry for being stupid. Dad is capable of doing whatever it takes to protect you. It is never going to fail. You know that.
するわけないよな
Uncle Okarin. So the machine will be just fine, right?
だろ
もちろん
Of course. In fact, there was no sign of anyone but Kagari showing up. That meant that Daru and Maho's efforts had been successful, and they kept the secrets of the time machine out of Stratfor's hands.
マユリも行け
Mayuri, you too, hurry. But what about you, Uncle Okarin? She was looking at my injured leg and
俺
panicking.
のことなら
There's no need to worry about me.
14年後までは
I'm not gonna die for another 14
絶対に死なない
years.
からな
Kagari fired again. The bullet struck less than 30 centimeters away from where I was lying on the ground.
誰も動いちゃダメ
Nobody move, or I'll kill him.
その人を殺しちゃうよマシンに乗らないで
Don't get into the time machine. I'm going to give it to the professor.
その後
And then I'm going to have him tell me how to use it and go back to the future.
のに使うんだから
Forget about her. I'll handle this. Just go.
スザムだ
You too, Suzuha. You can leave Kagari to me.
任せてくれていい
分かった
Got it.
マユ姉さん
Fix this Mayu. Inside. What? Huh? Wait. Suzuha pushed Mayuri inside the time machine and out of sight.
オカリンおじさん
Uncle Okarin, take care of Kagari.
頼んだよ
I guess it makes sense this time because Kagari's alive.
了解だ
Roger. Suzuha followed Mayuri inside, and at the same time the hatch started to close. I told you not to do that. Come out! Kagari ran up to it. I forced myself to stand up, ignoring the piercing pain, and blocked her way. I won't let you interfere. Shut up! Move!
断る
I refuse. Move! Kagari kicked my injured leg and hard. The pain made me so dizzy I could hardly stand. Kagari slipped past me and tried to grab on the time machine. She was going to use the bomb in her hand. If she did, things would turn out the same as last time. My time loop would be wasted.
リロ
Get out, or I'll use this bomb to blow up the machine.
マシンを壊す
Stop. I grabbed her from behind and wrapped my arms under hers. I pulled her away from the machine, ignoring the pain in my leg.
分かってるのか
Don't you understand? If you do that, your mom is going to die. But I...
私は
I... Just calm down, please. Mayuri tossed a hard drive to me from the almost completely closed hatch. Okarin, here! What fell on the floor was the thing Kurisu had left behind for Maho. This is Kurisu's. How did it get here? I thought Russia had destroyed it. Don't get mad at Dad. I think it's going to need it for the time machine research. I could just barely hear Suzuha's voice from within the machine. So that was it. Daru had hidden the time machine. Bye, Okarin. I'll come back, okay? I could see Mayuri looking at me from the small gap in the door. That's right. This is a temporary goodbye. Let's see her again someday. Right, Mayuri? So I would send off my brave lab member 002 with my head held high. I'm counting on you, lab member 002, Mighty Ashina. Execute Operation Aquila. Slap me in the face for being so pathetic. Yep, leave it to me. Okarin, I love you. Yeah. Really? I love you. Yeah. Anyways, I smile as the hatch sealed completely shut. The time machine started to roar. I felt like I heard a helicopter in the distance. Fuck off, helicopter. I don't think Okabe knew what exactly she meant, and that's okay. He's a little dumb in the head, but we already knew that. I believed in him, but for now I had no proof that Daru had been able to crack the complicated Amadeus system and delete every bit of data. It was possible that special forces teams from all around the world were converging on Akihabara right now. Imagining that made me want to hurry. Quickly. Go quickly. I felt like praying as I watched the pale light surrounding the time machine. Don't go! Mama! Vixa sees it, huh? Kokore's cry went unanswered. Bright light covered the time machine, and it vanished from this world. It worked. Kagori sobbed and glared at me with eyes full of hate. Why? Why did you let Mama go? She shook away my hands and pointed the gun at my head. I stared her dead in the face. Your wonderful mama's gone with Suzuha to go scold a stupid man who ruined the world. She's going to do something very important for the sake of the whole world. You're lying. You're lying. Mama and Big Sis Suzuha both left me behind. I'm not lying. I'm about to go make it so you can meet Mama in a much happier place. So let's stop this, okay? No. I can't believe that. No. I know you'll believe me. Because I know who you really are. And how kind you really are. The gun barrel started to shake a little. You know me? I do. I've time looped from 48 hours in the future. Kagori put her hands to her head as her body spasmed with pain. I heard the voice of God. It tells me not to believe you. You're a liar and an enemy, it says. It says if I kill you, I can go back to Mama. It says to kill the bad man who's trying to destroy the world. And then I can go back to my old world. Kagori wasn't making any sense. Was this brainwashing? Had the professor done something so cruel? I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. I grabbed the flailing hand that held the gun and looked deep into her eyes. She was crying and scared. Listen. Mama's not coming back. But if we do our best, we may be able to make a world where you and Mama can be happy. That's why she traveled through time. You mustn't waste the chance she gave you. You can still start over. It's okay to disobey the voice of God. Yeah. The voice of God she was hearing was probably the professor's brainwashing. How far it had its claws sunk into her mind, I had no way to tell. But now we had Maho, a specialist in brain science. If we work hard at treatment, I'm sure she'll be okay. Hey. Okabe. Her voice was normal again. I want to see Mama. Can I? You can. Someday. I'm glad. There was another sudden gunshot. Kaguri's body collapsed right in front of me. Moeka! What the fuck? I looked over at where it came from and saw another girl in a black motorcycle suit. She wasn't wearing a helmet, so I could tell it was Moeka Kiryu, pointing a gun at us. Her face was deathly pale, and she was crying. Why? Why are you here? Why Moeka Kiryu? FB. Hey, FB. I didn't let that woman trick me. I knew this was a fake phone. So please, don't abandon me. FB. FB. God damn. She needs hope. Like big help. The cell phone fell from her hands. Another shot from her gun blew it into fragments. I held Kaguri in my arms. Her chest was turning red. This again. Hey, hang in there. I'm glad. Even the voice of God wasn't right at all the time. This is my punishment. I destroyed her heart and tried to manipulate her. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to grow up like this. Mama. Where are you? Where are you? Her voice grew thinner. Moeka Kiryu collapsed some distance away. Her eyes were unfocused and all she did was mumble. She didn't seem capable of coherent thought. Both of them would be in danger if I didn't get them to a hospital, but... Dozens of men in camo jumped over the fence on the roof out of nowhere. What? Even Dowdy and Maho couldn't succeed in this short a time span. God. Or was this road line going to converge so that the war started here no matter what? No, but... it wasn't a waste. If nothing else, they brought me time. They'd bought me time. And that had delayed the attack long enough for Suzuha and Mayuri to leave. That's right. In this instant, we'd already won. The way forward was still uncertain, but there was no doubt that the path to Steins Gate lay before me. Target 1, lost. Target 2 and Target 3 lost as well. What's going on? The leader was talking on his radio. I could see attack helicopters in the sky. I heard that siren again. This is guerrilla attack information. Repeat, guerrilla attack information. A guerrilla attack may occur in this area. Please get indoors, obtain further information from radio or television broadcasts. The war was starting. Just as I had thought. Even the time loop couldn't change that. Is that you, Rintaro? Nixon and appeared from behind the man in camo. That's right. He was a secret member of Stratfor, just like them. What are you doing here? Is Kagari dead? Tell me, Rintaro. Where is the time machine? I lay Kagari down on the ground and slowly rose back up. Blood wouldn't stop coming out of the wound on my leg. The pain was getting worse. But even still, I stood up proud and strong. In front of the men with their guns. In front of the attack helicopter with its rocket launchers. In front of the professor. In front of the war that was about to begin. I laughed as loud as I could in that voice. Good old Kyoumi and Kyouma. Listen well, fools. The time machine you sought to attain is gone. Well, thank you for the head pats. It no longer exists in this time. Too bad. Now, curse your own incompetence. And tremble in fear. For I, the great Kyoumi Kyouma, will never lose to you, and I will never lose to fates. I will find the path to Steins Gates. That's right. This was the beginning of the long, long epigraph necessary to reach Steins Gate. Not great, what? Madness is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Einstein had once said that when he despaired of human folly. But now, I would gladly give myself over to that madness and folly. I would use every bit of dedication and obsession within me to seek the lone different outcome, which the laws of God cannot reach. Why am I struggling to read? That is my choice. Yay! And we'll find out if we get the true ending after this credit sequence. Don't you love that for us? But this is the time, TM. Yay, credits. I'm pretty sure we should be clear to get the, true ending, though. Oh no. Man, I'm just blanking hardcore. What was I saying? Right. I'm pretty sure we should be clear to get the, true ending. Because we did receive the D-mail successfully way early on. So it'd just be a matter of doing a speedrun afterwards, because I want to be a completionist and how the Mayuri ending counted too. But that just means ignoring, looking at the phone at a point, and then numing. True ending. 5 PB. The 5 powered in games. Here we go. True ending. This song has a lot of vocabulary I don't know. Oh no.
計画の最終段階について話そう。
Now that the casual link has been established, allow me to explain the final stage of the plan.
ダイバージェンスを変え
The purpose of this plan is to change divergence and reach the unknown world line
シュ
called
タインズ
Steins
ゲートへ
Gate.
到達する計画だ。ちなみに
By the way,
シュタインズ
I'm
ゲ
the
ー
only
トと命
one.
名したのは
I'm
俺
the
だ。
one who named it Steins Gate. You of all
Naze
people know why I
Steins
named
Gate
it that, right?
お前ならわかるはず。特に意味はない。
Because it sounds cool. Isn't that right? (2025 AD). Ooh. The Future Gadget Lab. Tori, aka the Lab. It was also the headquarters of the resistance organization Valkyrie. Once located in a room in a multi-purpose building in Akihabara, it had been moved to a new base after the Third World War. The place was far too filthy to really be called a lab. But it was, without a doubt, the home of the best minds in the world as they searched for a way to reach Steins Gate. In the center of the room, Rintaro Okabe was delivering a monologue, posing like a stage actor as his white coat flapped.
お前が立っているその
We
場所は
reached the moment that you're in right now
俺たちが
because we wanted to
クリ
save
スを助けた
Kurisu.
いと願ったからこそ
I see a little Ferris poking with your little meow meow ears.
俺の計画の下準
All
備
the preparations for my plan are complete.
あと
The
は
rest
お
is
前
up
次
to
第
you.
最終ミッション
The final phase of
オペレ
Operation
ーション
Scold
スク
will
ルドの
now
概要を説明
commence.
する確定した過去
Your
を
mission:
変えずに
change the outcome without changing the
結果を
established
変えろ
events. Kurisu, aka Maho Hyajo, was staring at him, annoyed, from a distance away. Kurisu was Maho's code name in Valkyrie. Fair. Maho turned toward Itaru Hashida, who was sitting right next to her.
ね
Sitting, they were
えあれはあれでいい
standing,
の
whatever. Hey, is that really the right way to go about
Mm.
this?
多分
Yeah,
ね
probably. Itaru was grinning. He was history's greatest super hacker, and he loved killing Kyouma too much.
みんなと一緒に
Isn't
歩んでいる
Rentaro
こと
Okabe
が
going to be
2010
embarrassed when
年
he
の
sees
今
that
は
with everyone else in
恥ずかしくない
2010?
かしら
大丈夫
Don't worry.
その
Back
頃
then, he
は
was even
も
more
っとす
amazing.
ごかったから
ああそう
Yeah, I see. Maho sighed and shook her head. But even as she sighed, inside, she was so sad that she felt her heart. Blah, 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 blah. She was so sad that she felt her heart was going to burst. She probably wasn't the only one feeling that way. Itaru, Luka Urishibara, and even Rumiho Akiha, who was doing the filming, all seemed a little sad when they thought about what was to come.
最初のお前を
Deceive
騙せ
yourself.
世界を
Deceive the world.
騙せそれが
That is the choice you
シ
must
ュタイン
make
ズ
to
ゲー
reach
トに到
Steins
達す
Gate.
るための選択だ
And then Okabe walked toward the camera that Rumiho was holding. He insisted on standing away from the camera with his back turned to give it more atmosphere. So why was he walking towards it now? Maho sighed again. Okabe took the camera from Ferris and brought the lens up to his face. But then he said the final line.
健闘を祈るぞ
Good luck, mad
今日のマッド
scientist.
サイエンティストよ L
L.
プサイ
Sai.
コングル
Konguru. And then he stopped the recording, and the video message to the past was complete. It had taken 15 years to get to this point. It was such a long time. And at the same time, it had felt so short.
はいこれで
Okay,
バッ
that
チ
should
リ
do
だ
it,
よ
yeah.
よし
Alright,
あとは
now we just need to send the
Email
email
to
back
Shiki
into the past.
ルカ子
Lukako,
送り先と
don't
タイ
screw
ミン
up
グを
the
間違え
center
る
of the timing, okay?
はい
Right,
今の
we're
は
sending that one to your phone in 2010.
キョウマさんの携帯アドレスへさっき撮ったイタ
And
リさんのム
Itaru's
ービー
video
メールが
message goes to Suzuha in 2011.
鈴葉ちゃんへですね
ああ
Yeah,
よろしく
you've got it. Okabe came over to Maho and the others, his white lab coat flapping as he walked.
お疲れ様。
Good work.
これで
The way to Steins Gate is now
道筋
open.
はついた。今の俺にできるのは
This is all I can do. The rest is up to the me in
2010年の
2010.
俺次第といったところだな。
Yeah.
なんだ
What is it?
随分
He
暗
looks
いじゃ
so
ないか。
glum.
だって
It's because
やっぱりみんな
everyone's
不
so
安だもん。
worried.
タイムマシンの
Our
試
first
作
trial of the time machine is going to be a manned experiment. Maho looked up at the huge time machine, unit number FGC-193 behind them. It was almost the same shape as the C204 model that had appeared in Akihabara in 2010, but was still a prototype with many unstable parts.
大丈夫だ。
Don't worry, I trust my talented right
有能
hands.
な右腕たち
Will
を
be
信
a
用してるからな。
success.
絶対。
あなたが死ぬのは
You're going to die in
2025
2025 on this
この
world
世界
line.
線では
That's
それが確定
unavoidable.
している。だからって
But that doesn't mean I
自分から
want
死に
to
に
see
行く
you
ような俺
commit
は
suicide.
感心しないわ。
They had this debate 1,000 times before. Mel herself had thought she'd come to terms with it. By the last minute, she found herself bringing it up again.
確かに。
You're right.
俺はかつて
Suzuha told me once I was going to die in 2025.
2000あいつの話じゃ
She said I died saving Mayuri from a thug with a knife.
暴漢に刺されるんだったかな。今この場に
Mayuri's not here right now. But the world lines always converge.
だから俺は
I was sure I was going to die in 2025, but
けどな。
Okabe flipped his white coat up a little too dramatically and put his hand to his chest.
それは
I don't necessarily have to die, do
死
I?
の必然とは限らないんじゃないか。この俺が
Vanishing from the year 2025 is the
こ
same
の世界線
as
から
dying,
消える
isn't it?
という選択もまた死と同じ。
どういうこと？
What do you mean? This theory was new to Maho.
つまり
In other words,
2025
I don't have
年
to
の俺が
die to leave
この
for the
世を
year
去るというの
2025.
は別に死ぬわけじゃなくて記念すべきタイム
I
マシ
can
ン
travel
初
to
号機に
another
乗り
part of time and space in our first time machine.
無事に旅立ったことを意味していたのだ。
ものすごいポ
That's
ジティ
some
ブシン
serious
キング
positive thinking.
でも
But as a theory, it
仮説と
works,
してはありだよ
right?
世界は
The
騙
world
せ
can be deceived.
別の世界線から届いたその
That
メッセー
message
ジ
from another world line gave me
俺に勇
courage.
気を与えてくれた。これから俺がやろうとしているの
What
は
I'm about to do is also a trial run for
Operation
Operation Scold.
実証実験みたいなものでもあるんだ。
そう
Yeah,
確かにそうね。
you're right. But to Maho and the others, it was all the same. After 2025, Rintaro Okabe would be gone. He would never come back. He wasn't saying it, but he knew it too. He stared at each of his friends for a moment in turn, as if it to help him memorize their faces. Most of the founding members of Valkyrie and the former members of the Future Gadget Lab were here to see him go. Itaru Hashida, Rimiho Akiha, aka Ferris Nyanyan, Nika Ureshibara, Maho Hiyajo, and sitting quietly in the back, Yuki Hashida. A 7-year-old Suze Hashida was hiding behind her legs.
みんな
Everyone, thanks for coming this far for someone like me.
俺みたいな男によくついてきてくれた。だが
But the battle against the
神の
laws
摂
of
理を
God
相手にした戦い
continues.
はまだ続く。次は
The next fight is in
2036
2036.
それまで
Until then,
よろし
keep
く
it
頼
up.
む。ワルキューレの
Good
健
luck,
闘を祈る。
Valkyrie. As she listened to Okabe's final goodbye, Maho tried her best to stop herself from crying. She couldn't cry here. She decided long ago that she'd keep hope in her heart as she watched him go.
よし。
Alright,
そろ
time
そ
to
ろ
go catch my escaped
逃げた人
hostage.
質を捕まえに行くか。
鈴葉のことも
Take care of Suzuha
よろしく
too.
な。
任せろ。
Leave it to me.
こいつに乗せてある。
With the Kerr black hole
カーブラック
tracer
ホールの
loaded
プレッ
into
サーが
this
あれば
thing, I'm sure I'll be
きっと
just
うまくい
fine.
くさ。
That was a special device that only the C-193 was equipped with. It is capable of tracing the space-time distortion continuity created by a curved black hole, anywhere from 70 million years in the past to the future. You could call it a time machine tracker. It had been specially designed to allow them to find another time machine. Of course, they had only one reason for making it. To find Mayuri Shino and Suzuha Amane, who had gone beyond the space-time horizon on Tanabata in 2011. Did you guess that when the battery on the C-204 failed, it had lost the ability to properly time travel? So after finding them with the C-193, Okabe would give them a spare battery and send them back to this time. If possible, he'd go too. If they could do that, this mission would be 100% complete. But doing that with this prototype time machine would be extremely difficult. Okabe had to have known that. Perhaps he was thinking of sacrificing himself to send Mayuri and Suzuha back to this time.
じゃあ
Alright,
行くよ
I'm off.
おう
See you.
待って
But wait,
待ってください
wait. Last member of the future gadget lab, Kagari Shina, came running onto the floor.
かがり
Kagari,
姿
I
が見え
wondered
な
why
いと
you
思っ
weren't
たら
here.
どこへ
Where
行っ
have
て
you
たの
been?
ごめんなさい
Sorry,
これを
I
取
went
って
to
きた
get
んです
this.
オカリンさん
Okarin,
持っていてく
take
ださい
this. For good
お
luck.
守り
The Upa... Kagari handed him a faded green Upa keychain.
いいのか
You sure?
君の
This is important to
大
you,
切な宝
isn't
物
it?
だろ
はい
Yes.
だからこ
That's
そ
why I'm
です
giving it to you.
絶対に
Make
返
sure
し
you
て
give
くだ
it
さい
back. And bring
Mama
Mama
to
back
Ishoni.
too. Got it.
分かった
I'll bring it back.
必ず
I
返すよ
promise.
必ずな
Okabe took the keychain and gave everyone one final firm handshake. Finally, he came to Maho.
元気で
Stay safe.
君もな
You
ク
too.
リス
Kurisu.
いや
No.
Maho.
Maho.
ねえ
Hey. Yeah?
シュタインズゲートは
Do you think Steins Gate
実
really
在すると
exists?
思うまゆりさんが死ぬことなく
Do you really think there's a
そして
world between
クリスも
where
犠
both
牲になら
Mayuri
ない
and Kurisu survive?
そんな狭間の世界線が本当にあると思う
It was the first time she'd asked that in 14 years, since the battle began on that year's Tanabata.
あるさ
It does.
絶対
I
に
know it. Rintaro Okabe, Kyoin Kyouma, answered her with a smile. But his smile seemed so sad that Maho couldn't help but cry.
泣くなよ
Don't cry.
泣いて
I'm
ない
not
わよ
crying. Maho gave him a hug and swore to herself that she'd never forget his warmth and conviction.
いってらっしゃい
Goodbye. Okabe nodded a little.
よし
Okay,
全員
everyone
下がれ
step back.
これより
We will now
オペレ
begin
ー
the
ションを開始す
operation.
る
Now, the name of this operation shall be
作戦名はオペレーション
Operation
アルタイル
Altair. He shouted as if trying to raise his own spirits, not just everyone else's. And then he entered the cockpit of the FGC-93 time machine. Maho and the others quickly began the countdown sequence to start the time machine. Since this was a trial run too, they needed to record all the data they could get. A low roar enveloped the whole machine. The vibration and noise were so loud the building shook a little. But as far as Maho could tell, the data was normal. The thick hatch of the time machine was slowly closing. Then there was the sharp sound of it sealing tight, cutting Okabe off from the rest of them forever.
うまく
It's
いくわよ
going
ね
to work, right?
大丈夫
Don't worry.
キョウマは必
Kyouma will
ず
do
やり
just
遂げ
fine,
る
yeah?
その通りです
That's right.
不
He's
可
the
能を
man
可
who
能
makes
に
the
する人
impossible
ですから
possible.
ああ
Yeah.
それでこそ
That's our
僕たち
Okarin.
のオカリンなわけでね
オカリン
さ。
No cutting. Sparkles. A rainbow-colored fog started to rise up around the machine. The sound of the engine grew so loud that it threatened to blow out their eardrums, and no one could hear a thing.
オカリン
Okari! Itoru screamed, unable to hold back any longer.
お前の死が確定してる
It doesn't matter if you're supposed to die.
どうでもいい
Come back here
やっ
anyway.
ぱここへ戻ってこい
みんなずっと待ってるから。
Everyone will be waiting.
私も
I'll be waiting
待ってる
too.
から。
So make sure you come back.
絶対に帰ってきなさい。
As they screamed, the machine started to fade away. And then, just as he promised on that distant day, he followed the two Orihimes. With a blinding flash of light, the time machine took off from the year 2025, heading for a time far away, and disappeared.
宇宙に始まりはあるが、
The universe has a beginning, but no end.
無限。
Infinity.
星にもまた始ま
Stars
り
too
はあるが、
have their own beginnings,
自らの
but
力
their
を
own
持って
power
滅び
results in their destruction.
有限。
Finite.
英知を持つ者
It
こ
is
そ
those who possess
最も愚かである
wisdom
の
who
は
are the greatest
歴史からも読み取れる。
fools. History has
海
shown
に
us
生ける
this.
魚は
The fish in the sea
陸の世界を
know
知らない。
not of the land.
彼ら
If
が
they
英
had
知を持てば
wisdom, they too
それ
would
も
be
また滅びゆく。
destroyed.
人
Destroyed.
間が光の
And
速
it
さ
is
を
more
超えるの
absurd
は
for man to travel
魚
faster
たちが陸
than
で
light
生活を
than
始
it
め
is
る
for
ように
fish to walk on land.
これは
This is the
そんな
story
神からの
of
最後
those
通
who
告
fought
に抗っ
against
た者
God's
たち
final
執念のエピ
ultimate.
グラフ
This is the epigraph of their obsession. Ominous. But I guess that's as much as we're gonna get. Isn't there more after the credits? We'll find out. I don't think there'll be much, though. This is our second set of credits already, though. I think there was a little bit after the second set of credits for the true ending in the first game, though. So there might be a little bit more as a treat. Probably explaining where the next game's gonna start, maybe. Now go to the world that is still unseen. Nope, I guess that's that. Oh, did that count as getting the Mighty ending too? Clear list. Okay, yeah, it did count as getting the Mighty ending. Oh, thank God. Look at the total play time. Look at that. It's not fully accurate because I do like have the game like up and running. What do you acquired tips? How did I miss 2 tips but got all of the CGs? Well, anyways, you know, you would think getting the true ending would take longer than some of the other chapters earlier on. Like, I don't know. I feel like you always fall asleep during your streams, though. Is it because I have a nice, soothing voice? I say in the most annoying voice ever that I can produce. Well, I could probably produce an even more annoying one, but you get the point. I hope. I don't have a single thought in my head. Used up all the brain cells reading, Steins Gate. The blah 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 blah. Okay, we're just gonna raid Relix now. Okay, bye!